Is it not working? That's starting to aggravate me a little bit.
What's going on?
When I try to marry the two clips together during the intro, it always has a couple seconds of separation, and it's making me mad.
Well, it's always done that.
No, it doesn't always do that. It's just always done that lately, and I don't know what's different. I think my connection's a little screwed up or something because my internet's been a little bit wonky.
Well, welcome to our channel.
No doubt. Welcome to this Monday edition of It's in the Blood. We're kind of going off the cuff today, trying to figure out where a good niche and time frame would be for us to broadcast. So Monday at 5:15 was the set to go time today, and we got a few things that we're definitely going to discuss today.
Oh.
Is it good?
Oh, this is so good. Yes.
Is that carbonated?
I think a little, yeah. But oh my god.
Yeah, right.
Sour cherry, G Fuel in a can. Trying new things today. Wow. Yes.
Speaking about the first thing that we come to and that we kind of discussed a little bit earlier, this losing streak of the Cincinnati Reds. Before I have my rant, what do you think about it?
I mean, they're still a good team. They are losing and they keep losing, and I don't think they're any less of a good team. They need new relieving pitchers that can close games because they've got pitchers like Tyler Mahle that comes in there and pitches a perfect 6-7 innings, and they just come in and second pitch throw a home run, and then it just goes downhill from there. And so I don't blame all of the Reds. I their management is obviously doing something wrong. They have to see that their relief staff is just so bad, and it keeps getting worse. And they're putting all the pressure on one reliever, who's going through a slump right now. He's a good pitcher. Just they can't put it all on him when you have they have a solid lineup of pitchers. I mean here. Castillo's had a couple rough times in, this season, but as a whole, like their pitching staff is like pretty good. It's just, their bullpen is horrible. Like that's where their issues lie, I believe.
So, I mean, since you're taking that standpoint, I'm going to go back to before the season began. And the only thing I can think of is economics is why this happened. But last year at the end of the season, before they made their little playoff run, they went out and picked up Archie Bradley from the Angels, who was a closer. They have Raisel Iglesias at the end of last year, who is also a closer. They have two closer-type pitchers, with Amir Garrett being a setup man and Michael Lorenzen, who is on the injured list, as another shutdown reliever. They have four guys in the bullpen last year that were considered shutdown relievers. Now, I'm not going to knock T.J. Antone and I'm not going to knock Lucas Sims, but those guys they're still on the up and coming. TJ Antone's a fantastic pitcher. But, at the end of the day, it had to be financial for them to let go of those guys last year. And I can't figure out for the life of me why they let them just walk away when they could have. I think Archie Bradley signed for less than $4 or $5 million. And I think Raisel had another year on his contract. He may have been getting close to 10, but that's not that much money in the grand scheme of things when you're losing one-run games.
Oh yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, that was the difference between this team and last year's team. I mean, the Reds have always had like that rocky, but at the same time, like this year they have like the people hitting that needs to be hitting who are scoring them points. I mean, how many games have they had where they've hit 10 runs? More than we're used to. So like they've got the hitting down for the most part. I mean, they've had a couple games like the San Francisco game where they just couldn't hit, and then even the game like last night, they just couldn't hit. And so, but like that's just here and there games, but as a whole, like they're hitting very
I see you're freezing.
coming
So
down to the pitching staff that's losing them games for the most part.
yeah, and exactly. And the other thing is that when and this at the beginning of the season, they did not look like the Reds from last year. The Reds from last year lived and died by the home run, which they've hit a lot of home runs this year. But when they're scoring, they're spraying the ball to all fields. They're protecting the plate. Now that they're losing and they're not hitting, everybody's trying to hit home runs. And I think that's another big part of the problem is that they're trying to gain all of this back in one swing, and you can't do that.
Well, they've been talking about Suarez, how he's not been hitting well, and they think that is like him moving him back to shortstop is putting a lot of more pressure on him to play well on the defensive end of the ball.
So another example of the same thing. A couple years back, what's up, Sean? A couple years back, they took Jose Peraza, and they took him out off of playing shortstop and stuck him in left field or right field. And the whole season, he struggled at the plate because he couldn't get his footing because he took him out of his routine of where he normally played. And I think that's a little bit about of what Eugenio is going through right now because he wants to play shortstop. He's relishing the opportunity, but he's still got to get accustomed to it. And
all right.
I don't.
All right. We haven't got to football yet. Give it time. It's gonna come.
I think I'm just tired of talking about his boy.
Well, I have enough fire in my body to talk about his boy long after he retires. So give it time. We haven't made it there yet, but we'll get there, and I'll make sure to keep him included because he's included in everyone else's conversation too.
Yeah, and so now we're back to the point, and I think I don't want to. I think I have a little statement that I want to make though, because I think Ohio went to 40% in the sports stadiums. So now
like as of I think this weekend.
It was I think of last Friday they went up to where they can.
Yeah, this past Friday.
So they upped up their attendance. And so this is me speaking to anybody that's probably going to end up going to any Reds games, and even if they continue to lose for a while, I don't think if you're a real fan, I don't think you should get on the boo bird train. If you want to boo somebody, boo the umpire, boo the opposing team. Those guys is who
Listen, though, like even on their road games and where they can't get as many hits or can't score as much, like look at it. They're still so much fun to watch. Like that's what got us so hyped up about baseball is their fast start this year and how exciting it was to watch. Like that last game of the Arizona series at home where they lost 14-11. I don't even care that they lost because that was such a fun game to watch. Like I couldn't believe like they were coming up, like they were getting their ass kicked and they came back and made that game exciting. At the end of the day, yes, I'm disappointed they lost, but I'm used to them losing, so I can't be disappointed in that. I'm excited about all the things they are doing. Like, I'm having a lot more fun watching them than I have been over the last, couple years. They've had good moments. That year with Puig, they lost most games. But I had a lot of fun watching them because they did ridiculous things, like the beekeeping incident. That was hilarious. Their game got postponed because of bees, and one of their players got in a beekeeper suit and went out onto the field, and their umpire thought it was an actual beekeeper. So it's the little things that makes me happy about this team. They went for a complete losing season, and I enjoyed it because of how ridiculous they were. But now, they're giving us baseball things to be excited about. They might be in a slump right now, but they won 7 games in a row at home. That's a big accomplishment for them, and I think it's just I think they still have the potential to do well. They're just under 500 right now. They're not out of it completely yet. and they got a lot more games to play. Not saying they're going to do well in this series starts tonight. They're playing the Dodgers, but at the same time, let's go back to March Madness. Gonzaga was the team to beat. They were going to go undefeated. But then they played UCLA, this smaller team, and they just wore them down. And then they got embarrassed in the national championship game. Like, I'm talking about the Dodgers here right now. So they just went and played the Padres and lost 3 of the 4 games in the series. But like last night, they went into 11 innings, like really late last night. It was
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
all of their star batters were the last ones up to bat to close the game, and they lost. But like, I think this could be a thing. Like, maybe not the whole series, but the first game or two of this Cincinnati Reds Dodgers game, it might look better than what you were expecting, thinking the top dogs come in. Cincinnati's going to play the top dogs, and they're going to get their asses handed to them. Cincinnati had yesterday, like, it was, whatever, but like they didn't play yesterday. So I think they have a chance to have at least 1 or 2 good games against the Dodgers.
I agree, Sean. She's pretty fantastic. I'll put that comment up there right now. I think she's a definite star in the making. She's got the intelligence, the thought process, and then she delivers pretty well. And that's part of the reason we're doing this.
I appreciate that.
We're doing this for something to do together and have some fun. But I'm going to finish my point, because before your rant hit, my rant was just getting fired up. And my point was that I know people have a tendency to come down on the players and who's not doing what. I disagree completely. These guys are out there and they're giving it 100% every single day. It's up to management. It's up to ownership to change trends. These guys are going to go out and play hard every day, but they've got to be put in winning situations. They've got to have the opportunity to win. So if you want to boo somebody, boo an umpire, boo the opposing team. And if you really want to boo somebody, boo David Bell.
Okay, that if I'm going to be booing anybody, that is the man it's coming at. I'm not even going to come at the umpires, because as many questionable calls as they've made, a lot of them have been in favor of the Reds. They've called some strikes that I know for a fact was not a strike. Like, so like they're not completely just going after them. They're making bad calls, but they're making equally bad calls for both teams. And so I'm not going to come at them just yet until it starts costing us whole games, like ridiculous calls. So I'm going to go after David Bell for now, but got a quick question for you. Do you think that Shogo coming back tonight is going to make a difference?
Is he going to play tonight?
I think so, yeah.
I hope.
I know he's back. I know he's back for sure.
So I'll tell you why when he's in the game, he makes a difference. He makes a difference because he's one of the only guys on the team that does not swing for the fence. He tries to get on base. He tries to do the little things. He's a spark plug type player, a hustle guy. Those are the guys that motivate you to win. And I think if he gets the chance to play a little bit tonight, time in that outfield right now, because Jesse Winker's hitting. Tyler Naquin is hitting. Nick Castellanos is hitting. These guys are hitting all the time. So he's got to take advantage of his time in the field, and he has got to get on base. On-base percentage, walks, and defense is what's going to keep him out there playing. But, yes, I think he can definitely be a difference maker.
Oh, yeah, I'm really excited for him to be back. You can kind of feel the difference, him not being there. I don't think he's played yet this year, has he?
Nope, been hurt the whole season.
That's what I thought. So, like, I really think he's just going to be like one extra little bit of firepower, a little spark to their offense and, their fielding. He's really good in both situations. So, I'm excited. Oh, yeah, there it is. The Winky. That's my freaking boy. I don't care. Nick Castellanos is a badass. The rookie, I love the rookie, India. He's awesome. I'm super happy he got his first home run. He's been making big plays. Love him. I like Suarez, even though he's struggling right now. I like everybody on the team, but the Wink is my boy.
Yeah, Jesse Winker is definitely going to play every day because he keeps hitting everybody. That's the thing. Shogo is going to split time out there in the outfield with Senzel. They're probably
which is good. I think that's a good thing. Not that I don't like Senzel, but if you had to choose a weakest link,
Yep, I agree.
It's him.
Yeah, right now it is. I mean, Senzel was probably the higher prospect on the team. I mean, he is absolutely he's a baller, but he's not getting it done right now. Like Tyler Naquin's playing a really good outfield right now. You know what? And I'm going to talk to that one for just a second. Jonathan India being a rookie out there getting hit twice in the head, understandably he was mad, but for the officials to warn both benches after that pitch was thrown was completely wrong for the Reds, and David Bell did the right thing. He got himself ejected, but he did it on a principle because that's saying that baseball has unwritten rules of retaliation and how you carry yourself on the field. Nobody really likes them, but they're there. Jonathan India got hit in the head with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Deservedly, he should be upset. But then the pitcher throws over to first base with him standing there and just kind of lobs it, which made him even more mad. The bench coach that took over for Bell after he got ejected, rightfully so, took Jonathan out of the game, which was probably the right move at that point because he was definitely emotional. However, the umpires really changed the dynamic of that game. Flaherty didn't mean to hit him in the head. You can tell by
no. Yeah, you could tell by his reaction. He was really upset when it happened. But the thing is he was throwing a lot of questionable high balls like that. Like, if you're going to throw a ball, just throw a ball, man.
And you just hit the point on the head right there, is because what that does is when the umpire issues bench warnings like that, then what it does is it takes away from your pitcher to be able to pitch his game. You know what? Throwing that high pitch and throwing one that's high and tight is part of a pitching strategy. You want to back that batter off the plate. But once you've been warned, then you can't throw that pitch anymore. So now you have to change your whole game plan in pitching, and warning both benches over something that the other team did is wrong in Major League Baseball, and the umpire should warn who needs to be warned, and that's it, and that's all, and let the other guys play until they mess up.
Well, yeah, especially with like the two teams playing, the animosity that's already there. St. Louis is already mad at Cincinnati before this series began because of the opening day series. So I feel like that just really like struck a nerve with everybody on the Cincinnati's bench by giving them a warning when all he did was get hit in the head. He didn't do anything. He didn't retaliate. I know he's a rookie and he could have, because like rookies, take a lot of things really seriously, and their emotions get the best of them sometimes. But I think everything got handled well except for that. Like it was uncalled for, and I this is like you said, the one thing I'm gonna back David Bell up on. I think he had every right to get as fired up as he did. I don't care that he got ejected for that. At least it wasn't something stupid. But I don't know. Like, I know for a fact that guy did not mean to hit him in the head, but wasn't the first time he got hit in the head from the Cardinals too?
Oh, no, it was Pittsburgh.
Oh, you're right. It was Pittsburgh. Yeah, that's another team that's just like St. Louis, though. Same kind of situation. But like, I feel bad for the dude. He's a rookie in the league. Everyone gets hit by balls in their career, but not everyone gets hit right in the head. And he's done it twice now.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch that closely, if he hadn't have cocked his head,
yeah,
and where it hit that earpiece, it would have been right in the throat.
Yeah.
I mean, so that ended up a lot better than what it should have. But that's the thing. Just warning both benches in that instance, I think, is wrong. You got to give the other team a chance to complete playing their game because they haven't done anything wrong yet. Good ejection. Good for David Bell for getting out there defending them. Moving forward, they go to LA tonight, and so they're going to fly out there all day today. They're going to go play probably the best team in baseball on paper and on the field.
I know, but after like anybody who watched that Padres-Dodgers series, I think that'll go down as one of the better series that were played this year. Like I live here, I get Cincinnati Bengals games. I wish I'd get more Reds games, but I just don't. But for some reason, I think it's just because the Dodgers are like the team right now that I'm able to get those games. And I watched all 4 games. They were so good. And like I said, I really think the Padres, made them run for it. Like, I think they might have wore them down. And so I think this them going from probably one of their better opposers to playing Cincinnati. Not saying that they're bad, but like in their head, they're thinking, oh, we go from like top dogs who just whooped our ass to Cincinnati. Like they're going to take it as a joke. I think they really have a chance to at least win one of these games.
I think I'm not even concerned with the win or loss tonight. What I'm concerned is how they take the field, how they approach the game. If they go out there with emotion and adrenaline and go out there and play hard, I don't care if you lose if you play right. I mean, I really don't, because if you keep doing the right things the right way, the right results will follow. But if you see guys hanging their head and lollygagging after fly balls and stuff like that, that's what I can't take. I think they got a chance tonight to go into LA, play with some energy and emotion, and put a stop to this losing streak. I think they might win the game tonight, honestly.
I mean, like, I'm not being biased by any means, but I really do feel like they can win. It's, if not any game in the series, this one specifically. I know, like, flying on a plane all day right before your game is kind of like rocky, but like, they're used to it. They're baseball players. They're always on the road, so I don't think that's going to really affect it that much. But I really think that they didn't get as many hits as they've been used to be getting the last couple games. The Dodgers have a lot of really good pitchers, but they throw a lot of hittable balls. Like, I really think that this will be the game that hopefully, pushes them back up, because I think they're in a slump from losing so many games in a row. And I think this will be a good game.
Yeah, and just a quick reminder, if there is anybody in here tonight that's not been in here before, seen a live stream, and decided to jump in, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment in here. We're trying to build this small little sports channel up, and we're going to promote who we like and what we want to watch, and we'll promote anybody that does things that are special as well. But do us that justice and hit those buttons for us, because we really appreciate it, and it does help.
Absolutely. Yeah, Shelby said that game last night was such an attention keeper. Like, think about, like, who, other than pitchers, who's like the number one guy that comes to mind when you play the Dodgers? Like, their best player that's not a pitcher.
Best player that's not a pitcher? Mookie Betts.
Exactly. Yeah, he went like 1-6, 1-7 last night. 1-6 or 1-7. The Padres had 44 players play last night. That's how crazy that game was. But like, yeah, even that guy, couldn't do anything. It was such an insane game. I can't believe out of 7 at bats, he only got 1 hit. Yeah, everything, like, I just can't stop thinking about that series. Like, I'm not a Dodgers fan. I'm not a Padres fan. I'm not joining the Fernando Tatis Jr. hype train. I think he's a badass. I still think that contract was stupid. I don't like the Dodgers, but I like Trevor Bauer. And, the incident where Tatis hit on the second pitch of the home run, most pitchers would be, like, bent out of shape about that. But, like, I was really happy with how he acknowledged that situation, about how, a lot of pitchers get really, like, upset and come at other players because of their mistakes. And he was kind of like along the lines of, I threw that home run, I think people should celebrate that home run. They did that, no one should come at him. And he was like basically talking about pitchers who are soft and take it out on the team because they threw a home run. And so I have a lot of respect for that guy, not because he's from Cincinnati, but, just in general, like, he's such a cool dude, and I like that. But, oh, yeah. So, yeah, the Dodgers had the bases loaded, like, many times last night and couldn't do anything with it. They had, like, in the 10th or 11th inning, they had like 16 guys stranded throughout the game.
So back to, I still don't think I'm not sure, but I was getting into the thing. So tonight we got, and when you look at the pitching match tonight, we got Tyler Mahle, who's been pitching absolutely.
Dude, Tyler Mahle, I think, has been pitching the best for their.
Yeah, his record's 1-1, but he's got a 1.74 ERA. And then Julio Urias for Los Angeles. He's pitching perfect baseball, but he's got good offense behind him. But he's still got a stellar less than 3 ERA. I look for a low scoring, tough game tonight. I don't think it's going to be a bomb fest. I think it's going to come down to a few little things that win the game. And
honestly, I could see Mally not letting anyone score while he's in. Unless they hit a home run, I could see him not getting anybody, on base. He's done such a good job this year.
How am I gonna get up and go to work tomorrow when this game's at 10:10 start time tonight?
You gotta love California games. Super late.
I know. I think I'm gonna have to find time to take a nap. Oh, I don't have time to take a nap today. But anyway, I'm trying to figure out, and I can't really see it right now. I know Mike Moustakas can't come off the DL until tomorrow, I don't think, or the injured list. They don't want to call it the disabled list. And Shogo is either off or he's close. I'm not sure which. I think he's off because he was supposed to play at the alternate site.
No, I think he's off because I saw a lot of updates that he's back and ready to play. I just don't know if he's going to play tonight.
Right. And, and somebody else that we haven't really had a chance to talk about a whole lot. I mean, Jonathan India has played probably as much, if not more, than any other player on the team this year. But who's been doing a pretty good job?
Okay, I have tonight's lineup. So it's batting lineup. It's Alex Blandino, Jesse Winker, Nick Castellanos, Suarez, Senzel, Tyler Stevenson, Jonathan India, Kyle Farmer, and Tyler Malley.
Two things that I noticed there is Joey Votto's getting a day off.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what else do I see in that? Winker's coming out of the leadoff slot, hitting in the 2-hole. They're putting Blandino in the top spot, and that's who I was getting ready to mention.
Yeah, they did that yesterday or the last game too.
Because he's filled in pretty admirably for Mike Moustakas. I mean, he's hitting 350 in 14 games this year. He's got 4 RBIs. He's slugging at 500. His on-base percentage is 435, and that equals Jesse Winker. So that's a good spot for him, I think. And I think Castellanos in the 3-hole is a good spot too.
Yeah, followed by Suarez and Senzel, but then they have Tyler Stevenson, who's been hitting really well this year too.
Yeah,
in the lineup.
That's another good. He has done the second catcher role absolutely fantastic.
I love Tucker so much. But Tyler Stevenson has definitely been proving his worth this year. That game that he hit that almost home run to win the game was just so good, I don't know. He's gotten me real excited for another catcher in Cincinnati because, I've loved Tucker since he's been there.
Yeah, Tyler Stevenson's big and strong. I think them guys need a break, though. And I think I got to say, see, here we're coming into this lineup tonight. I like this lineup for this game. I think it could be beneficial to mix it up a little bit, let them guys have a break. But they've really got to just show good energy tonight. Win or lose, come out and play to win. If you play to win and act like you want to win and everybody is up and upbeat, I'm going to be satisfied how this series goes. This could go really bad. They're 3 games under 500 right now, but I don't think it's make or break time for their season. I think they just need to baby steps, get on base, see more pitches, get to these teams' bullpen because the Dodgers don't have the greatest bullpen. Get into the bullpen and try to wear them guys out tonight. I hope they win tonight. But we've been on baseball for a good bit now.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned the Royals yet.
And you know what? And since we are talking Kansas City sports a little bit too, since you're about one of the biggest Chiefs fans I've ever come across, Kansas City Royals this year.
Yeah, I saw today they beat Detroit just a little bit ago, and they won the 4-game series. They swept the 4-game series, and they said that this is the first time that the Royals have won a 4 games on the road since 1999. This team, no one's really talking about them as much as they should, I feel like, but they're I think they're the number 1 team in the league, the American League.
They're 14-7. They're definitely winning their division. They're a few games ahead of the White Sox, the Indians. The Twins were one of the best teams in the league last year, and they're 7-13. I mean, it's a long season, but congrats to Kansas City. I mean, it's nice to see them up. I mean, and they're winning one-run games. They're not winning. They're going out there and winning the tough games, and that's
what's big. Yeah, and a lot of the games they've been able to score a lot, and it's not just home runs either. Like, they're able to keep guys on base and keep putting them in, and so like I'm really excited for that as well, because like I'm not saying that they're ever a bad team, and like I'm happy because like I'm really happy that Moose ended up in Cincinnati, because I really liked him in Kansas City. But so it's kind of cool to keep him close as well. But yeah, and to see Patrick Mahomes be an owner of the Royals now is kind of cool. Like, your team's a Super Bowl team, and you've got a baseball team it's working their way to being able to compete like that. I'm not going to say that they're going to win the World Series or anything, but at the rate they're going, they've got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, and then the one thing that's remarkable about this Royals team is they're not winning they're winning with timely hitting and pitching. They're not winning with overwhelming power. So yeah, they're winning games the way that games were intended to be won. They're playing each game, and they're winning each game as it comes. They're not outscoring their team these games by a lot. They're tight. And here's the other thing. Without knowing anybody, how many people that are on that team right now that you, right off the top of your head, that their name?
Right off the top of my head, I don't know. I've watched probably 75% of their games, and I don't really know any of them.
No, that's right. I mean, you got Salvador Perez.
Salvador Perez, I knew, yeah.
I mean, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of good players on this team. Carlos Santana hits DH for them, but most of the players are guys that are just not that popular of players.
Honestly, though, like, their relieving pitching staff has done really well, because like I think their starting pitchers are still getting the job done, but they're giving a lot of runs up early in the game. Like, most of their games, I feel like they've been playing from behind, and like they're able to do that and do it well. I don't know if like they're just like the Kansas City, they can score fast, or they can not score at all until the end and come back and win. So like I don't know what their coaching is like, but like whatever they're doing is I don't know, weird, because like they're still doing so well, but every game is different. Like they'll be down 6 runs in the first inning and come back and win, but not win until like the 7th inning, or they'll start off really hot and not score the rest of the game, but play good defense the whole game enough to get them the win.
Yeah, their bullpen's holding up fairly well too and winning late inning games. They're playing like a team that can actually win the long way. What's up, Snorkel? Thanks,
What's going on, Snorkel?
But yeah, I mean, there's something else to cheer for in Kansas City right now. That city's got it going on, don't you think?
Oh, it feels good. It does.
So since we're in Kansas City, why don't you, if nobody knows, tell everybody about the latest pickup that the Chiefs had?
All I'm saying is watch the Super Bowl. Watch how many times Patrick Mahomes is running for his life or getting hit. They go into the offseason, 2 weeks later, sign 3 big dudes. And now Brett Veach said, I'm not done. They went to Baltimore and stole the one man that's probably keeping Lamar Jackson on his feet left, and said, hey, we're just going to take a couple picks. We'll give you our first round pick. That's pretty much all they gave up for that, because they traded a 6th and 7th round pick for Baltimore's 6th and 7th round pick. So all they really gave up was a first round draft pick for a 24-year-old Pro Bowler who didn't give up a sack after week 7 in this last year. And, with a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, who, even if he's not running plays, he's running behind the line. And, to not give up a sack for like 10 weeks is huge. Also, he didn't miss a game in the last 2 years either due to injury or whatever. He played every single game. He's huge. He's fast. He's good. And I'm so excited. Like, I still can't get over the high of what Brett Veach has done with this offensive line. A couple weeks ago, everybody in Kansas City was coming for his throat for cutting Fisher and Schwartz. But now it's just like every day it's like, are you just going to go ahead and sign another big guy? Like, you just going to keep adding to it because he put so much money into that offensive line. I think Patrick Mahomes might be the quarterback with the least amount of sacks at the end of the season based on how they rebuilt it. And there's still room if they want to re-sign Fisher and Schwartz as backups in case, a guy goes down or whatever. But yeah, Orlando Brown is not letting anyone touch Mahomes. Oh, yeah, right here. His blind side is protected. Like, I don't think many people are going to get his hands on him.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's important for him not to get hit and not to be running for his life because, A, it's not that he can't do that, but just as well as I do, no quarterback lasts forever running like that. I mean, they just get beat to death and they get broke. I can name 5 quarterbacks that their career got ruined because they ran too much and got beat to death.
Yeah, I mean, in the Super Bowl alone, he ran almost 500 yards behind the line total throughout the game, just running for his life because they didn't have an offensive line. So everyone loves it's like it's almost like like the Steelers fans, they like call for your head but then love you 5 minutes later. That's how it's been in Kansas City in this offseason. Everyone was going for Brett Veach's throat when he cut those guys, and I'm like, they were both injured. I mean, I'm sad for the loss. Like, it sucks because Eric Fisher has been phenomenal. He was a first overall pick in 2013, and he's been there and he's been consistent in Kansas City this whole time. Him alone not being there in the Super Bowl, like if just him was back, like I don't think it would have been nearly as bad because he's such a difference maker. But with all these 4 guys that they've picked up to put on their line, I think this is huge. Like, this is really big. Like, they beefed up their defense already and they beefed up their offensive line. I think, Kansas City is going to perform better as a whole for the entire season, like last year. Oh, yeah. Pittsburgh fans, like, I'll get that they're loyal. I will say that. Every Pittsburgh fan I know has always been a Pittsburgh fan. They don't jump around because they lose. They're still there. But they'll talk so much shit about their team if they even throw one bad pass or one bad call. Like, they'll come right there. Mike Tomlin needs to be gone. But then they'll win the game and they're like, oh, Mike Tomlin's the best coach in the world. And I'm like, you guys are so inconsistent. It stresses me out.
Well, that's back to kind of what I was saying about talking about how we should be acting as Reds fans right now during this slump. It's not the guys' fault. They work hard. But the thing of it is at the end of the day, Pittsburgh has some of the overall shittiest fans that I've ever seen in my life. They are loyal fans, and then but at the same time, as soon as you mess up, they'll cut your throat.
Yep, 100%. Like, it's insane. I respect that, Snorkel. Like, they're, not all of their fans are bad. I hate that team, and it's because they're in the AFC North and they play Cincinnati. Like, I just despise them as a whole. They're a rivalry team. It's just like the Raiders with me. I'm not judging you because you like them, but I'm judging that fan base as a whole because, like, 99.9% of them are literally horrible. I have met a couple that are all right, but most of them are so horrible that it's not funny.
So, Snorkel, it just really quick, like, should Pittsburgh have gotten rid of Roethlisberger in the season this year? I want to know what a Pittsburgh guy thinks.
This probably is our first Pittsburgh Steelers fan that's actually been in here. So, yeah, I'm actually curious to what he has to say about that. Because, I mean, I think they should have just dumped him. I can't get past the real dirty play they used to have. Play or player, or I'm confused.
Everybody in the AFC North learned from Pittsburgh on how to play dirty. And I don't necessarily mean it's dirty football, but it's definitely hard-nosed defense and hit everybody hard.
Oh, yeah. He said maybe. I just feel like the team hasn't clicked in a while. I mean, I kind of disagree with that. I mean, maybe this season, but they've had a winning record for the last 9 years. So clicking or not, they're able to finish with like a 500, like 8-8 every year or better. So I don't think it's that they haven't been clicking. It's just like they'll start good and end bad, or start bad and end all right. And so I think that the problem is like this year specifically, they played to all trash teams for the most part. I think they only had like 2 really good days or really good games that they ended up losing, but they were beating, people like the Giants, like teams like that. They were beating up on teams that weren't doing well.
When he's talking about, back early on with the Bus and Ward, on that offense, that was a team that you could, I never got behind. It's like I love to hate, but they weren't the same type of team then, and I honestly still think that they were really a great type of team, even with Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. I think they were, that they just don't seem to have what they need to get over the top right now. They have a great defense, or they had, but I just think this year is going to need to be rebuilding.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think they needed to start with a quarterback to start rebuilding, and they chose to keep Ben. I honestly think they should have let Juju go at the same time, and I think they should have started fresh, started rebuilding, and got they still can win 8 games and be in rebuild. That's what happened when Ben Roethlisberger was out with a shoulder injury and they had Mason Rudolph all year. They still finished with a winning record, and they were still kind of tweaking everything on their team did. But now they lost a lot of pieces. They didn't let Ben go. They kept Juju, which he is not a number 1 wide receiver. I don't care. He might be their veteran receiving core, but he's not a number 1 wide receiver. He's only 25 or 24.
And he's an idiot.
And he cares more about TikTok than he does football.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You know what? No coach in his right mind. Do you think Chuck Noll in 1979 would have let Juju go out and dance on the 50-yard line on a team's logo for TikTok? Do you think that shit would have happened?
Oh, dude, he would have punched him.
He would have kicked him off the fucking team. It'd have been over. He'd been gone. I mean, you know what? That's just what it is. The whole Showtime thing about the NFL, and you know what? Even so much in the NBA has kind of ruined it in a sense. The showboating is
dude. It's made it better because look what Von Bell did to him. So it made that hit so much better that he danced on their logo before. Like, if he hadn't danced on their logo, that would have been a big play. But it made it so much funnier because of that. And then Cincinnati ended up winning that game, which just kind of skyrocketed everything. But, I'm all for showboating, but not like that. That's just dumb, in my opinion.
Showboating, if you're doing it and don't disrespect. Don't be disrespectful.
Yeah, you score a touchdown, you want to dance. You want to dance on people's logo before a game? Don't do that. Yeah, you're literally putting a target on your back.
Well, we've bounced today from Kansas City back to I call it like the Mordor of the NFL, which is Pittsburgh. I mean, nobody really wants to be there. Nobody really likes it
unless you're their fan. Yeah.
Yeah, unless that's your home. Yeah, it's not. We're creeping up on Thursday, and Thursday is draft day, and it seems like a lot of teams at the top have become very definitive on who and what they're going to select. I think it's given that Trevor Lawrence is going number 1, even though in my brain I don't necessarily believe that, but everybody in the world believes it.
We've been sitting here talking about that for a while, and I still, didn't. I even put some money on him not going number one. Just in the off chance, I like to play sports betting, and
Yeah, you're freezing.
every time I do that, I lose. So a little bit of money on it. Oh crap!
You're back. Okay, but
Okay.
we're back to the point now that that a lot of these most recent mocks that are coming out, 1 and 2 are pretty set. There's a little controversy at 3 whether it's going to be Mac Jones or Justin Fields.
No, dude. Have you heard about Kyle Shanahan today?
No.
So I don't think it's a thing that you can jump off that they might take Justin Fields, but he came out today and said they've finished all of their pre-draft virtual meetings, and it's down to Mac Jones or Trey Lance. They didn't even say anything about Fields today.
So that's one of two things that means. That means that either he is going to go earlier in the draft and they know it, which is possible because these teams are all dealing and wheeling and dealing up until the draft, or they're really just set on their guy.
Oh, man, I still can't wait for them to take Mac Jones and me laugh about it forever.
That's kind of like my consensus too. I think that might happen. I think in that spot it should either be Trey Lance or Justin Fields, but regardless. So that being said, if you're not back yet, are you back? There you are. So that being said, Atlanta at number 4 and Cincinnati at number 5. I don't think neither team's going quarterback, even though that I know that some of the latest mocks have Trey Lance going to the Falcons. I think we both agree. I think Kyle Pitts or Jamar Chase is going to end up in Atlanta.
I think if they decide, which it won't be announced before the draft unless something crazy happens in the next 4 days, if they decide and are able to trade Julio, if they have it in their mind that's what they're going to do, I think they might take Jamar Chase. But if none of that has anything to do with it, I think I'm pretty sold on Kyle Pitts going to them.
That's kind of what I thought too, and that's why I thought at 5 it comes down to it's either going to be Jamar Chase or Penei Sewell, and that's the first one that really has. Do you take one of the top playmakers in the draft and make your quarterback happy, or do you take probably a generational talent at right tackle and take Penei Sewell?
I've seen a lot of mock drafts in the Cincinnati fan base that with including Jamar Chase going first, and I saw them taking this center or tackle from BYU in the 5th or 6th round, and still taking defense, having Jamar Chase, and there was a D-line and O-line, a solid 7-round mock draft that I think I like Penei. I think he's some generational talent on the offensive line. I'm kind of going to be upset if they don't take him, but at the end of the day, they think they need a wide receiver. So if that's what Burrow wants and he gets murdered all season, it's on him. He'll see that it's his fault. He's like, I pushed for that. I got my receiver and then I got killed, if they're not smart in the later rounds. I think that no matter who they take, Pitts, Chase, or Sewell, I will be happy with it because they're all three the best at their position in the draft.
I agree. That's like taking the best available player. If they decide O-line is what they need, they're going to take Sewell. If they decide a tight end is what they need, even though they just grabbed one in free agency.
Thaddeus Moss, yeah.
I mean, even though they just grabbed one in free agency, Kyle Pitts is going to be – he's the next George Kittle, the next Travis Kelce, and then some because he's that athletic, that strong.
Yeah, I could see him finishing a career pending injuries and things like that just as good, if not better, than both of those guys.
And, and so, I mean, if they take one of the three, at the end of the day, I'm not going to complain. If they go outside that window of anybody else, then I'll probably complain. But if they take one of those 3 guys, I will be satisfied with that.
At this point, if they take anybody other than those 3, I think every Cincinnati Bengals fan in the world is going to go find them, whoever made the decision, and attack them.
So, and then you're back to and then you're back to where it really starts mattering for other people. But Miami, their pick just really depends on who gets picked above. I think.
Yeah, Miami really wants Jamar Chase. Like that's
definitely the playmaker that they want.
Yeah, they want Jamar Chase, and like that's why they moved up inevitably. But they had the number 3. I think they just wanted to see how much they could get for what they already had. And they did a really good job stealing from the Texans and the 49ers. They got so much off of it. All started from one offensive lineman. They traded to Houston to get that first round pick, and then it just snowballed from there. They got like 8 picks total from one offensive lineman. And so I don't think they really cared who they took per se in the first round, but they still got in within the top 10 of a first round draft pick, and and they got another pick in the first round, so they basically can get whatever they want.
So and then filling out the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, you got Dallas, Denver, Carolina, and Detroit. I think if they don't go sooner, I think Panay is in that group. I think Patrick Surtain is in that group. Justin Fields will be in that group.
I also think that Atlanta might take Patrick Surtain.
And that's another one that's been talked about. And you know what? That's the best player at his position that's in the field. I mean,
I like on the defensive side, because I don't know too much of these draft prospects like on the defensive side, but Micah Parsons
at linebacker, yes. Are you back?
Yeah.
Yeah, Micah Parsons at linebacker. Go ahead. Ooh, you're messing up. Are you there? Ting, 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 ting. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm here. It's just I never left, but my computer just keeps switching back and forth from the Ethernet to the Wi-Fi. Like it just keeps doing it over and over again. It's not even shutting off and saying no internet. It's just flipping, and so it drops in between every time it flips. It's showing that I'm good now. Like I'm good. But yeah, Micah Parsons and Patrick Surtain, or if you're looking defense, I think that's the best 2 dudes to go for right there. That's not defensive line, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, after that, here's a position that hasn't really gotten a lot of talk that's in the draft, and that's the edge rusher. I mean,
like after, the last 2 years, Nick Bosa, then Chase Young, I feel like there hasn't been any guy that level of impressive.
Yeah, I mean, there's no names that are out there. The other names that are out there right now that you're getting into there's another cornerback, J.C. Horn. I know he'll go high.
Yeah. He might go in the first round.
Oh, we'll definitely go in the first round. He'll be in the top 15, unless something strange happens above. But you know what? Going down through the rest of the first round, the only other players that I'm really interested in seeing where they end up is a pair of Alabama guys, Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith.
What's up, the Magnetic Squatch? How's it going?
Squatch! What's up, brother?
I'm still like baffled about this Devontae Smith thing. Jalen Waddle is understandable if he slips a little further into the draft, just because he was injured a lot. But Devontae Smith was the Heisman winner. He was the national champion. He's got everything that points to him being, number 1. But Jamar Chase has had a really good season. And, this is what I don't understand. If they're picking Jamar Chase to be the number 1 wide receiver in the draft, why wasn't he in conversation for the Heisman winner?
Good question.
Yeah, that's just, I get that LSU didn't have the record like they did with Joe Burrow, and I understand that hurts his case a little bit because, Heisman winners make a difference. make sure you win. Like that's why Devontae Smith was in there, but Mac Jones was right there with him. And I think I would have lost it if Mac Jones won the Heisman, seriously. But anyway, yeah, you've got a Heisman winner, probably a future Pro Bowler. And I do know why. He's a little bit smaller than a lot of receivers. But if you can play, you can play. Who cares about your size? Like, this just goes back to Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray not even being 6 foot tall. They're both ballers. Sometimes I think the height gets in the way a little bit, but at the same time, they're both ballers. And I don't think this makes it any different because even if you take Devontae Smith for a wide receiver and you're like, I don't know because of his size, you can flip him and put him on defense.
Yeah, I mean, he could be converted into a cornerback, but that's not what they want to do. And I think the main reason, and I have to use a Bengals analogy, that Devontae Smith has slipped so far down in the first round. It's not because of what his abilities are in college. It's that everybody's afraid of what is going to happen in the NFL, and they always everybody points back to John Ross. Same size guy, same type of numbers in college. John Ross played at a good program in Oregon, and he lit it up. He come to the NFL and was absolute squat. So therefore, your other receivers are 6'5". They're prototypical. They got great hands. They may not have the ideal speed, but they have more of an upside than what Devontae Smith has. His floor may be, a better floor, but his upside, it seems to be, it doesn't have the highest potential. And I think everybody in the NFL is scared of that.
But like the difference in him and John Ross, didn't John Ross go up really high in the draft?
9.
Yeah, exactly. Devontae Smith isn't even expected to go in the top 10.
And that's probably because the amount of quarterbacks that are being picked this year. It's for some reason, I guess everybody has quarterback needs or they have unhappy quarterbacks, but it's a heavy quarterback draft. And you know what? And like we've discussed, I think the quarterback class in this draft is kind of weak, honestly.
I don't like I'm gonna stick with it. Trey Lance is my favorite quarterback in the draft. I think Justin Fields is probably worth the highest draft pick in this draft class. I don't like Trevor Lawrence. I don't like his attitude. I like how fast he is, but I'm starting to fall off the mobile quarterback train. Like, who we got in the league right now? Lamar Jackson. Not there. He's not it for me. And, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Josh Allen is probably the best mobile quarterback in the league. He's built. He's huge. He's tough. He's got an arm. He's fast. And he can take hits without it affecting him at all. And you know who that's in the draft currently that was a rookie this year that I can compare to that is Justin Herbert. That kid, I think, is going to be so much like Josh Allen that it's unreal. There's not a big age difference, but that kid's going to be a baller. He already did so well for being in a tough division with, coming from, his first game was like against the Super Bowl champions. But he beat a lot of big teams and he got close to beating a lot of big teams. That kid's a baller. So I'm kind of I like the mobile aspect. If you can scramble, that's cool. But quarterbacks that just run all the time, I'm not saying anything bad about him, but I'm falling off that train, and that's kind of where Trevor Lawrence is sitting. But he's not as big as Cam Newton. I'm not talking height, but I'm talking build. He's not as big. He's more like a Lamar Jackson big, and that's why he's so fast. Lamar Jackson's a twig that's going to get broken.
Trevor Lawrence to me is not a talented guy. I mean, he's not a talented guy.
No, he's talented.
He's a talented guy that's absolutely positively great against lesser quality defenses because you put him up against Ohio State and Alabama and he got his butt whipped.
Both times, yeah. He's unimpressive against good teams, which means he's unimpressive to me. I want to see a good quarterback that can compete. Like Justin Fields breaking his rib cage and then standing up, coming off the field for 3 minutes and coming back and winning a game. That's impressive to me. That's heart, passion, toughness, everything you need for a quarterback.
See, I'm with you. I think Justin Fields in this draft has the highest upside. I think he's got the most upside of any quarterback in the draft. And you know what? We were talking about, and I'm going to bring it up here in a second, but we were talking about quarterbacks that draft people expected to fail in 2018 draft class, and I want to bring that back up for you real quick. Hey, Squatch, I know you're down in that Florida area. Is Jacksonville your team, or are you a Tampa guy?
Or a Miami.
That's true.
If I was down there, no offense to like Rob and everybody, but I think I would go Miami either way. Irregardless of the teams they've had in the last 5 years, I think Miami would be the direction I went.
There it is.
The 18, was that Josh Allen's class or was that 17?
Maybe.
Because I know Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield was, and I think Lamar was all in the same draft class.
Yeah.
Jags, but shaking my head. Yeah, I don't like what's happening in Jacksonville. I mean, Urban Meyer may or may not turn that team around. Trevor Lawrence is not going to turn that team around by himself. The only thing I like about the Jags is Tyler Eifert, and I think he's a free agent this year that they didn't re-sign. So, I've got no ties to Jacksonville other than that I supported the Colts a lot of my life, and I liked watching them beat up on them. But, Jacksonville with Mustache Man Minshew beat up on the Colts in the first game of the season this year and then lost every game after. But,
I know that, and I know in all honesty, I know that this part of this is fittingly part of this that you'll agree with is the 2018 draft class it was a very quarterback heavy draft. There was a lot of people that were high on the quarterback, and although he's not set the world on fire every year, Baker Mayfield was the first pick in that draft, and you can argue for or against this guy going forward. But after that, the second quarterback picked was Sam Darnold. Now, these were all guys that pre-draft, all the analysts had with the most upside. Josh Allen ended up being drafted third in that class. However, he was considered he needed developmental time. And we all agreed because his throwing was erratic. He had the arm strength. He didn't have all the poise he needed to be an NFL quarterback. And letting him sit was fantastic for his career. Got to say that. But the next quarterback in that line that was projected to be a star and had a higher upside was Josh Rosen. Is he even still in the NFL?
He was last year, but he was obviously a backup, and I don't remember, maybe the Cardinals.
Yeah, he was the backup for the Cardinals. He was going to be the starter, and then they drafted Kyler Murray. That's the last thing I remember.
Dude, Kyler Murray is a stud, bro.
And then I think he went to Miami or something for a little while too.
He did go to Miami. I don't know. Maybe I remember him being signed last year, like mid-season trade as a backup for probably someone whose quarterback got hurt or something. I don't know. I saw his name last year, so he might not be this year, but he was last year.
So the point that I'm just trying to make out of all of this is that class had 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. The 2 that had the lowest considered upside by drafting in the first round ended up being the 2 right now, as it stands, the 2 highest win percentage quarterbacks out of that draft. And that's Josh Allen at 7 and Lamar Jackson at 32. They are the 2 best quarterbacks out of that draft. And coming out of that draft, nobody gave, these are the Niners, nobody gave those 2 guys as much credit, although Josh Allen had a higher ceiling. And they are the 2 winningest quarterbacks out of that class. Now, that goes back to what this year is saying, is that everybody's got these guys rated high, and I'm not so sure on them. Last year, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow were absolutely great picks. But
Justin Herbert, I hate getting excited about division rivalries, but his story is incredible. He didn't go high in the draft. I mean, I think he still went first round, maybe second round, but he wasn't supposed to play a single snap last year. And then Tyrod Taylor got stabbed by his medical doctor 5 minutes before a game started, and they said, all right, Herbert, you're up. You got to go. And then played the Chiefs, his first career game against the defending Super Bowl champions, and almost beat them. And then he never slowed down. That dude's a stud. Like, he went for a run play in that game, and someone that was, I think it was the Chiefs game, hit him so hard out of bounds that the defensive player guy didn't even get up, and he stood right up like, let's go. And I'm like, that kid's going to be a nightmare once he gets, a little experience under his belt. And so, like, I don't want to root for him to win, but at the same time, like, if the Chiefs ever start declining, I'm going to hope he fills that spot and takes that team far. When's the last time you saw a Chargers team in a Super Bowl?
Last time I remember him, I can't tell you. But I just, I wanted to bring that up just because all these draft analyst guys, they still don't know what you're going to get in the NFL, what they're going to be in the NFL. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust.
I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the biggest bust. And then followed by Mac Jones, especially if he goes to San Francisco. He might almost be a bigger bust than Trevor Lawrence.
And I agree.
Listen. Listen to this. So, look at the 49ers division, and then look at Jacksonville's division. Yes, they have the Colts and they have the Titans, but they also have the Texans. They have a chance to not be last in their division solely because they have the Texans. But look at the 49ers division and tell me that Mac Jones is going to be able to beat any of those teams.
I can't see it.
Exactly. All those teams have really good defenses now. Well, Seattle's like hit or miss, but still good enough to beat them. That division is too tough to put a garbage can like Mac Jones leading your team. Now, Justin Fields is a baller who can take hits, stand up, and keep going. Justin Fields can win games. Mac Jones is a little crybaby white boy who's gonna get hit one more time or get hit one time and start calling his mom crying and be like, "I can't do this. Come get me."
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Mac Jones. I believe Mac Jones is a typical Alabama quarterback. I believe he's A.J. McCarron material. I believe he's
no better than A.J. McCarron.
I believe A.J. got 2 national titles too. By the way, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. He's no better than him.
I think
in terms of the NFL, unless he goes to play for Bill Belichick, he will fail.
And we're coming down to the last 3 or 4 days before the draft, and here's something that it's still being beat up and tossed around a little bit. Does New England, Brockton, trade up to get a higher draft pick, or do you think they sit there at 14 or 15 and go?
I really think Belichick wants Mac Jones. Like, I really, truly believe that because he knows better. Like, that man is way more intelligent than people who hate the Patriots hate the Patriots think he is. If you're not a Patriots fan, I feel like you don't really understand how intelligent that man is. So he knows that he could turn that dude into a Super Bowl contender.
So there we go. So do you think that that's the reason San Francisco wants him, because they know that Bill Belichick covets him?
I think, it's just like the Steelers stealing Bengals players that they want. It's the same kind of thing. I really do feel like they have to know that Mac Jones is a garbage can, but everyone has to know that Bill Belichick wants that kid because he looks just like the little dumpster fire Tom Brady was when he came out of college. If I'm, okay, to the Edelman thing, I agree because, everything's bullshit with that. And so, no offense, but I'm not going to be surprised if they wake up in 6 weeks and Edelman's like, I'm coming out of retirement. I'm going to go play for Brady. But what Shelby says right here is he's too loyal to New York. I think New England. He is the one player on that team that I could see just staying retired.
I saw something the other day, and I can't remember where I saw it. It was either on like maybe one of the Fox Sports talk shows, but anyway, they had dubbed Tampa Bay New England South, and I thought that was kind of funny.
I mean, yeah, because 90% of Tampa Bay's fans, like 10% are the ones who've been there the last 50 years. The other 90% are Brady fans that came from New England.
And here's the thing. Mac Jones's college career, it very much mimics Tom Brady's college career. And it
Yeah,
looks
I
very
mean,
similar.
they look like the same person.
Tom Brady would not have been Tom Brady if Tom Brady was somewhere else.
Yeah, if he would have started his NFL career with anyone else,
If
he might not have ever been a starter.
If he would have been drafted by the Cleveland Browns, he might have went down as one of the fastest leaving quarterbacks to the NFL if he'd have went to Cleveland. I mean, there was some talk when the year that he was drafted. Cleveland was one of the teams that was considering him in the 3rd or the 4th round, but
he still fell to the 199th pick.
Yeah. Well, and that being said, I mean, I'm getting myself more excited for the draft on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been that excited, so I'm like, as we're getting closer, I'm like, we got to get through the draft to get to like summer camp and stuff like that. So I think that's why I'm getting so excited, because we're getting closer, we're moving forward, we're getting closer to an NFL season, which I am so excited about.
So, if you have anything else in the draft or anybody trading up in the draft, any team that's in the first round, do you have anything substantial on your opinion brain for what's going to happen in the first round that we have not discussed today before Thursday, before it starts happening? Do you got anything else? Anybody you want to see drafted high? Give me something. Give me anything.
Honestly, I kind of want to see Micah Parsons go high. Like, I would be so ecstatic to see him go top 10. I think it's definitely possible. I don't think anyone's talking about it, but what's up, Zach? Go sports ball, the most not sports person I've ever met.
Go sports ball. That's fine.
But I think that Micah Parsons is like, yeah, he's the highest rated in his position. But no one's really talking defense in this draft because of all these quarterbacks. Like, so he's not getting the credit that I think he deserves. Just like Patrick Surtain, he's the best quarterback in the draft, and I've heard his name mentioned 5 times compared to any quarterbacks 1,000 times.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see how high some of these defensive pieces go.
Yeah.
And also, I think that Denver might take a quarterback.
Well, the latest mock draft that I've been looking at, and it's not that I always agree with this guy, and I'm not even going to mention his name because I don't care for him that much, but he has Justin Fields slipping to 9 and going to Denver. I think that's a win for John Elway. If that was
yeah, I mean, I saw that Trey Lance is the quarterback they want if they take a quarterback. But if Justin Fields slips that far, the first team that needs a quarterback needs to take him.
Yeah, and back to the whole defensive thing, after Patrick Surtain and Micah Parsons, and in some respects the J.C. Horn, after that, I don't know a defensive player that's going to go in the first round for sure.
I think it's all going to be mostly offensive, but if it's not a quarterback, there's plenty of good wide receivers in the draft. Like, even past, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, and I think Jalen Waddle only slips because of the injuries. But Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, there's a lot of guys they're not talking about. I think Cincinnati, if they still want an LSU wide receiver, they could wait till the second round and get Terrace Marshall, who also played there in LSU. And I think he is just as good of a pick. He helped them win games. Like, he was a game changer at the wide receiver position. He didn't have 70 touchdowns and thousands of yards, but he was there when it mattered. Like, he made the big plays, and I think he is more, in my eyes, like who I would want if I was pulling from that LSU team. He's not got so much hype train on him, so he hasn't have anything to prove. You're not going to be let down if he does end up doing bad. He has a lot of potential and not a lot of hype, so I think that takes a lot of stress off of him.
God,
What, you about to have a rave?
I don't know, dude. There was some video came up on this thing that I was looking at. Go ahead.
Anyway, but like with Terrace Marshall probably not going to be a first round pick, that takes a lot of stress off of his back when he makes it to the league because no one was talking about him in the first round. And, he was right there with Jamar Chase all season, with Joe Burrow all season, still doing great things and not getting any credit. I think that dude's going to be a star.
That's a good one. If you want me to go wide receiver, I'm going to go after Devontae Smith. I'm going to pick one that I think is probably maybe just as good as Devontae Smith, but didn't get the credit as much as Devontae Smith. And I'm going to go back to the University of Florida after your Kyle Pitts at tight end. I was watching some Kyle Pitts footage, and I discovered Kadarius Toney at wide receiver. He's not as tall as some of these prototypical high first rounders, but he's electric with the ball and after the catch. And I think that's something that's very important in the NFL is what you can do after you get the ball. If you don't have a blocker, can you get around a defender? And, we haven't talked much about Kyle Trask, but between Kadarius Toney, Kyle Pitts, and Kyle Trask, that's how Florida won a lot of games this year. And they didn't win it with defense. They won it with flat-out offense. And I think he's another mid to late first rounder that might end up somewhere like, oh, God, I hate to say it, but I think he's on Baltimore's radar if I had to guess. They need an electric wide receiver with electric speed to catch the short pass and take off with it and get yards after the catch. I think that's the only thing that's a win for Lamar.
You know what? I could see happening with Baltimore, because this is a guy that is probably going to go in the first round we have not talked about yet. But I could see Baltimore making the mistake of not taking a wide receiver and taking another running back, because they just cut what's his name? Their running back that's been there for a long time.
He's not that important in my brain if it didn't come out immediately.
Oh, I know Shelby knows who I'm talking about. It wasn't Mark Andrews. He's the tight end. And it's not J.K. Dobbins.
I can remember. Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram. And so I could see them going for Najee Harris running back in the first round.
I don't think so.
No, I know that it's a bad thing and it's a bad idea, but that's just how they are.
Hey, and just everybody in here in about 30 minutes or so, Tidewater Magnet Thrower goes live. I don't know how many live streams Tidewater's had, but that's a place, if you have a little time tonight, go over and say hey and show a little bit of support. One of that great magnet fishing crew that I've been raving about here lately. Just want to give that out there a little bit while we're still going here.
I just feel like nobody knows who that is.
I think Brockton and JP
yes, because they watch your live stream, but I don't think anyone else here actually watches your other live stream.
Yeah, I know. I'm just inevitably in the support mode for the magnet throwing community right now.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think the magnet fishing community has grown on me a lot in the last month or so.
Yeah, no doubt. But anyway, I didn't mean to break up the conversation with that, but I did want to get it out there. His notification came across my screen, and I wanted to mention it. Gus
Edwards. He's up and coming. He's one of the younger guys they have as well, right? I picked him up on fantasy mid-season last year.
There was something that happened with him, like that came around to his free agency, but I can't remember. I think he was free agent, and I'm just curious if they held on to him.
No, that they lost Earl Thomas and Mark Ingram. That was like their big pieces they lost, and then they lost Jonnu Smith, so I could see them going tight end as well. I mean, they still have Mark Andrews, but they lost Jonnu Smith to Bill Belichick.
Okay, they that the Ravens placed a tender on restrict. He's a restricted free agent, so um, so there's a tender of a second rounder on there, which would be worth $3.4 million in 2021. The 1-year offer would allow the Ravens to match any other offers that Gus Edwards signed. So he is a restricted free agent. They put a number out there, and if somebody wants to get him, they have to pay over that number. So that's what that basically means.
Yeah, I just don't see anybody taking him when the draft is coming up right now, and no one's talking about Najee Harris. If they want a running back, take that guy.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, and that's another person that's probably one of the better players in the draft. And, Saquon Barkley and Najee Harris are about the same in ability, I think.
I agree.
Najee Harris is going to go 25th, maybe, if he's lucky. He might not even go in the first round. And Saquon Barkley went like number 1 or 1A, number 2, something like that. I mean,
to be fair, a lot of running backs here lately, especially other than like Saquon Barkley, don't go in the first round. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire went 32nd in the first round this past year, and like I'll say it every single day, the Chiefs stole the first round. I mean, unless it was like Joe Burrow, they stole in the first round. That dude, he's short, stout, fast. He can get yards. He can catch too. Like, that's a hell of a running back.
Do you think do you honestly think that if he would have been still sitting there and at the first pick of the second round, do you think Cincinnati would have picked him? And you froze again.
Okay, I froze, so you said, do you think, and that's all I heard.
What I'm saying is if Edwards-Helaire would have been there first pick of the second round, do you think Cincinnati would have went LSU?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I believe that 100%. That's why I said he stole. Because, with the running backs that Cincinnati had, they have and had, because some of them are not there now, he is like a perfect fit. But at the same time, I don't know that he would have done that well because Cincinnati's offensive line lacked so bad. And I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to have a breakout year this year. Because they didn't bring back the guy who opted out. We never talked about that on here. Damian Williams, who opted out for Kansas City, who was like a stud in the Super Bowl, who I personally thought should have won that Super Bowl MVP, but obviously they were going to give it to Patrick Mahomes. They let him go, and he's in Chicago now. Yeah, he's in Chicago now. So I think he's going to have a good year there as well.
Okay, so probably the most important question of the day today. What time do you think on Thursday post-draft, what time do you think we should pick this conversation up about the first round? Should we go on at our normal time on Thursday?
Yes, because I work until 9:30.
So normal time on Thursday night for this, and we'll pick up all about.
I mean, unless you want to go at 1 a.m., like that's the earliest I can do is 11.
No, that's fine. I think that it's really important that we get in here and talk some football on Thursday night.
Also, I'm gonna drop the invite link. Now that we have got everything said out. So if anyone wants to come up here and either argue or agree with us or just tell us their opinions, go ahead and click that link. And I know Shelby will probably come up because she's good for it, but anybody else that wants to come up with her, you're more than welcome.
I love when Shelby comments because Shelby always drops very important statistics. And she's like a numbers person. She has it, she has it figured out when we're talking about something.
She's our backup, man. She's our hype guy. She's, our wingman.
I know. You know what? I mean, as far as this channel goes, what she provides is just as important. So
Yeah, she's our number one. She's who we need.
she's like the only one of us that's smart.
Okay. That's just rude.
Yeah.
You just called yourself dumb also.
Oh, well, I'm very accepting of that, having you underneath me in age.
Yeah, but you have like what you have on me is like the older, like statistics and stuff from things that I never got to experience. And I like being able to collab those two things. Like they were like the different generational coming together. It was like the same thing with our music taste. Like I listen to all the current stuff and get you into all the current stuff, and you influence my whole life by getting me into like like the Motley Crue, the Pink Floyd, all of that genre of music that
Oh yeah, the '90s music.
years.
Yeah, we hit the ground running pretty hard on music. Yeah, you know what, Sean? I am old, and that's just a fact. I can't hide from it anymore, brother.
What up, dog?
What's up, dog?
So how you liking your G Fuel?
It's pretty good. I'm almost finished with it, but I like it. I'm not sure how I feel. It tastes kind of like a Bang or one of the other kind of drinks like that.
It's a cherry nos, bro. It's
Yeah.
fire though. I love it. It's like too much. Like the nos gets to be too much for me, but this is like the perfect everything.
See, I love the cherry nos.
Yeah. The flavor is really good. It's just that I don't know how I feel about the the consistency of it, because it does remind me of a Bang.
I don't get the Bang so much, just because I've only ever had like one or two, and I'm not a huge fan of most of their drinks. Like especially like there's like specific flavors like the blueberry, like blue raz or whatever. Like it's just too much like of that flavor. And
G Fuel is 100% better, but I think it's just the carbonation. Like I don't think I want carbonation with my like pre-workout or whatever you want to call G Fuel.
It's just an energy drink. That's what it is.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, it literally says energy drink at the bottom.
Well, yeah. But I like it better.
Right. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I won't probably buy too many. I might buy the powder, but I probably won't buy too many cans just because the cans are a little more expensive than the powder. But I do like it. I'm glad I picked up a 4-pack just to try. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Have you had that sour phaseberry that I got yet?
I told you 1,000 times we've not bought the sour phaseberry.
I got it at work if you want to stop in and pick up some.
I might have to do that one day.
Yeah, I know.
Also, huge shout out to Brockton Magnet Fisher. He's coming clutch today. Everyone go check out his channel because he deserves it for coming in here and hyping us up.
Hey, you know what? You should slip over and give him mod status because he's a great moderator.
Yeah, for sure. I will have you in at moderator in just a minute whenever everything holds up for me.
Yeah, Sean's amazing, man, and I have a lot of fun with Sean, and he's running. When's your live stream running, Sean? Just so everybody that's here, that all 6 of us knows.
Don't say things like that.
It is what it is.
Don't say things like that because. Just because we're not as famous as Ohio River history doesn't mean these 6 people are not important to me. No, and I'm sorry that this channel is not as famous as your TikTok. But, if you want to go back to your famous land, go over Ohio River history.
You know what? Don't you got to pump me out like that? I was just playing. Thanks, Brockton. You're my hero. Sean, God, love you.
I just feel like you just insulted me and you by saying, oh, all 6 of us in here. Like, my bad. They don't have to show up.
Check out. Time out. That's not what I was getting at.
That's what it felt like. It hit me right in the heart.
I'm getting at
someone left because you said that.
Oh, the horse manure. Here's the thing. I think this is actually by far a better format than what we do over there.
And you still had to insult.
It wasn't an insult. I'm just thinking that the 6 people that are in here are brilliant. I mean, it's obviously because JP, right? JP's bar on Saturday nights really good. Brockton is actually just getting going, and he's really good. And look at how much they're into the chat. I think everybody in here is fantastic, and if you're here, then you're here for a good reason. So I don't think anything different like that. That's not what that was intended to be.
I feel like everyone's gonna unsubscribe to us now because they seem like you're just using them.
You watch, and I guarantee you 6
Don't
months.
Don't say whatever you're about to say. Do not say. Just stop. Stop while you're ahead. We got our 6-man back. Stop while you're ahead.
6 months from now.
Nope. Don't say it. You're muted.
I can unmute myself.
I can remove you.
Gosh.
Did she freeze while I removed her? Is that what happened?
No, I didn't. Excuse you.
JP, thank you, brother. And you know what? And that was not a shot at anybody, at us. I was just making the growth process is so hard, and I'm happy for the growth that we're playing. We're working really hard at, just to be honest. And I know Alex is super proud of what we've been doing. So I should apologize for that. Maybe that did hit her wrong, but we have a blast. And you know what? I agree, Jason.
All right. Brockton, you are now a moderator.
Hey, but anyway, no, we do appreciate you guys. And I tell you what, the guys that are in here, I'm starting to get to know JP fairly well. He's been with me when I passed out on a live stream. Sean and I have conversation quite often. These guys in Magnetic Squatch, by God, he's a great dude too. These are guys that are fastly becoming friends, and I appreciate every last one of them.
Oh yeah, I love all of the metal detecting, magnet fishing people I have met through YouTube, through your live stream, through Marlon's live stream. Everybody I've met on through YouTube in general, even CJ, who's not in the magnet fishing, metal detecting world. I like all of them, and I have not met someone yet that I don't think I could pull on this show with me by myself and not have a good time with.
Hey,
yeah, it looks like Colin came on the other night.
Yeah, dude, Colin coming on the other night, like really just like, I don't know, it was like very bittersweet. It was like probably the most important live stream I've ever done, and it meant so much to me. And you know, I was by myself. Not that I don't appreciate ours, because like this is what this channel is. It's me and you, and I love that. But like me going by myself, yeah, JP, heavy, Colin. You know, him coming on here, coming from your world and your community, like it, and being able to just sit and have a good conversation with me, you know, what meant more to me through this channel than anything we've accomplished so far. Just being able to connect with someone else and have a good conversation with them that's not us three right here. You know, I'm so thankful for that. I haven't seen him since that live, or since our last Thursday live. But I really appreciate him, and I can't wait for him to put some content out so I can show him some love.
So you know what, and that goes to say he's going to come up here. I know we're going to split times. Nick and I are going to go down there to New Albany and see him, and he's going to come up here one time. When he does, I'm going to bring him by for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'll come hang out with Colin, because like he's such a like similar to me on that kind of level. Like I could have conversations with him even if we don't have the same knowledge about the same things. We're able to sit and talk about it. And everybody I've met so far through YouTube has been good to me, and you know, I'll continue to show them love as much as I can, because every single account is on a different schedule. But you know, I show up to Thursday on Sunday or Thursdays, and I try to talk to everybody. and just, connect with everybody. And I have a good time, and that's what matters to me.
I always try to at least jump in the chat on Thursdays, but with my work schedule, it's kind of hard.
Yeah,
I just like interacting.
That's like Sunday mornings. I get on at work. I save my lunch hour for Marlon's live stream on Monday.
Marlon he's a real one, dude. Like, my favorite Canadian I've ever met, honestly, other than the bands that I've met from Canada. Other than that, Marlon's a cool dude, and I stop by as many of his as I can, but I'm usually at work, so it's hit or miss.
Hey, JP, just since you're in here and for your information, one of the Thursdays in May before Flash Bash, I'm going to do a prospector show with Ed and a few other gold prospectors too, because so many of them guys come in and support. I want to get all them guys up on screen one night to kind of bounce around through these.
Dad, you have an email, bro.
Huh?
I said you have an email.
I do.
I just feel like you. Oh, there he is. Speak of the devil himself. I'm so happy you're here, even though I did not know that you were here. But
he's cooking up some mushrooms.
Oh man,
some morels.
Have you been out hunting them, Colin? Have you found a bunch this year?
I will be right back. I'm trying to.
No,
I don't know how to turn my camera off. Just kidding. Cam. I'll be back. I'm you.
It's because you're logged into my account.
It's a good picture.
Oh, that was at Ripley's Museum in Gatlinburg. Have you been in there yet?
Mm-mm. We didn't go when we went down.
That was fun. Hey, just in case you go down there, get on internet and get the Ripley's 3-pack. Get one for the aquarium, then get the museum, and then I can't remember what the third one was. We had one extra ticket when we left that we didn't get to use, but the museum and the aquarium and then something else, and it was so cheap for all three.
Yeah, we didn't realize that was a thing until our last day when we went to the aquarium, and we were gonna do it, but then we were like, nah, we just don't know. We don't want to spend that money and then not get to do all three. Because we spent quite a bit of time at the aquarium. Yeah,
we spent 3 hours in the aquarium. Of course, that's one of my loves. I mean.
Oh, me too. We got to see the penguin march when we were there.
See, we didn't. I remember the videos when you guys saw the penguin march. That was cool.
It was.
We wanted to, but we got there too early in the day. Because we got in there at opening and it was like 4 o'clock and we just didn't want to sit in there all day. So
yeah, we were just about to head out when we saw him.
Yeah. Back to what I was talking about a little bit ago, what is your best prediction in the first round this year of the draft? What does Shelby think is going to happen somewhere?
I don't know. I really feel like the 49ers are going to take Mac Jones. Just because everyone's like, no, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And 49er fans, they are. And 49er fans are like, no, they're not going to do it. They're going to take Trey Lance. But I don't think they will take Trey Lance. I don't think he will fit their scheme.
No, I think he would fit their scheme perfectly. I just don't think they'll pick him up.
That's fair, too. I don't think Mac Jones would fit it either, though.
But
I think they're just going to pick someone up to pick someone up.
I feel like Trey Lance is a lot, and I'm talking specifically like sports, athletics, talent, all of that. Nothing about his person, but I feel like Trey Lance is a lot like Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like Trey Lance. I think that he's the Josh Allen quarterback in this draft. I think he's the guy that's going to take a couple years to really get developed to NFL, but when he does, he's going to be good.
I think that's going to be the case for any of the quarterbacks going in this draft. Not that none of them are talented, but I think they're quarterbacks that don't need to start their first season. Like, they need to sit a year.
They're not going to be like right off the bench like Justin Herbert. They're gonna need about a year or two to even get adjusted because they haven't had the competition.
Yeah, Justin Herbert was the exception that we did not even know was going to be the exception because he was supposed to sit.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert is one of a kind because like he did really good in Oregon. I mean, he had Penei Sewell blocking for him, so he had time. If you need highlights, those are the highlights you're going to see from Penei because he didn't play this year. But Justin Herbert, I am such a Herbert fan, man. I hate that so much. But I said it in the draft. I was like, the Chargers got a good guy. But no one knew how good of a guy he was going to be. It was just like we don't know about Jordan Love with the Green Bay yet. And I thought, he was going to end up going. I didn't think he was going to go to Green Bay, but I thought he was going to go somewhere and be a first-year starter that I was going to be disappointed in him being like starting so soon. But now that he sat behind Aaron Rodgers, whether Green Bay trades him or keeps him or whatever, when that dude starts playing, he's had a lot of time. I think he's going to do well.
We know, he hasn't gotten talked about with the exception when the rumor came about just a couple of weeks ago that New England was going to trade with Green Bay for him. I thought that would have been a really a big hitter right there. But I
really feel like that they should not trade him at this point.
Oh, no. I think he sat behind Aaron Rodgers enough.
No, that's not even that. It's like they are not in a good space to draft a quarterback that they would want most likely. And next year's draft class probably is not going to have that many quarterbacks in it. So I think if they're smart, since they went off the cuff and drafted him in the first place, they need to keep him. Until Aaron Rodgers is gone, he needs to sit the bench right there in Green Bay.
I agree. And with the last year's class and this year's class both being two quarterback-heavy classes, it's
no, I mean, to be fair, it's been like the last 5 years has been like quarterback-heavy classes. And so, since 16 or 17, everyone's been talking about the quarterbacks. But next year, who's going to be in there? Nobody really.
They're all going to be like first-year quarterbacks that aren't worth a draft pick.
There's only one quarterback that I can think of in college that I will be surprised if he doesn't stick it out in college another year, and that's Spencer Rattler out of Oklahoma. And that is the only quarterback for the next couple years I'm looking forward to making it into the draft. And that kid is a young Mahomes.
He's good.
He's only played 1 year. And so, he has 2 or 3 more years that he can play in college. And so we don't know when we'll see him in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there. I mean, that's next year is not projected to be quarterback heavy. You don't know what the college football season is going to bring, who's going to emerge. Spencer Rattler is probably one of the early favorites to be a high draft pick. He's only a sophomore, right?
He's either a freshman or sophomore, or he's either going to be a sophomore or junior this year.
I mean, I can't tell you any other quarterbacks that I can think of right now that is really going to be, there's just
no one. I think this is going to be the first year, depending on what happens, obviously, because there's obviously going to be a national championship game and someone's going to win and they're going to think that quarterback's amazing. But he could be young and not ready to go into the NFL. So, anything can happen through this college football season in terms of who's going to come up, who's going to rise, who's going to be big stars. Spencer Rattler could get hurt and fall down completely. Anything can happen. So, but as of right now, he's the only quarterback in the next 2 years I could see being, a quarterback prospect.
That's fair.
And I think this is going to be the first time in a long time that we don't have any big-name quarterbacks in the draft other than maybe him.
I agree. But we'll wait and see what the college football year, comes out and turns out. I have a feeling that as much as we're into this NFL season that's upcoming, we're invested in it.
That's every year for me.
Well, yeah, I know, but this year it's got a little bit more meaning behind it because we like talking about it. So and just so everybody knows that where this whole idea for this channel came from is mine and Alex's late night Sunday night conversations on the telephone that would go till 2:00 in the morning, just talking about what we watched all day, and the conversation was amazing. It was really good. We beat up on a lot of teams and stuff, and it seemed like we agreed a lot, and so therefore, lo and behold, here we are now doing this together, and it's a blast. Wouldn't ask for anything better.
Oh yeah, this is so much fun to be honest, and I just don't know how we never got the idea to do it sooner. Really, because we always do this. We always are talking about sports. Me and you are on the phone with each other literally every single day, at least 3 times.
Absolutely. Coming up towards the end of this live stream here, because I know that we're going to close it out in a little bit of time here. Going forward into Thursday, I asked Shelby what her biggest expectation was. Who's going to be the big winner in the draft this year? Which team do you think is going to make the right moves?
I think no matter who Cincinnati takes, they are the first winner in the top 10. Like, honestly, they take Panay. Obviously, that's their number one. That's how I think they win the highest because they already have good wide receivers and they just got a new tight end. Plus, Uzoma is back. I think they're set if they can build that offensive line. So if they take Panay, they are the first winner in the draft. If they take Jamar Chase, they got the best wide receiver in the draft. So they win there. And then if they take Kyle Pitts, he's going to be the best tight end to come out of the draft for probably the next 10 years. He's
like Travis Kelce.
Honestly, I think whoever gets that kid wins the most.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pitts is like a Travis Kelce, George Kittle kind of guy, and you won't see one like him for another few years.
Like, he could be a wide receiver or a tight end. He is huge. He can catch. He can block. He can hit. He can do everything. And, you're not going to see another college tight end like that for a long time. He's like an offensive lineman that plays tight end. Not quite as big, but, in comparison to other tight ends. This dude's jacked. He's fast. He can catch. He can block. He can run. He can hit. He can do everything. This is probably, in my opinion, the most important player in the draft.
Kyle Pitts and his, what did you read what his 40-yard dash was? 4.4.
That's what I'm saying. This kid is a nightmare. Whoever gets him is I heard the trade rumor that Arizona wants to trade up for Atlanta's pick to take Kyle Pitts. If Kyle Pitts goes to Arizona, there is no question in my mind that they will be in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Bold statement.
That is the boldest statement I will probably have for the entire season. But if they get Kyle Pitts, who's going to stop them? I just want to know, who is going to stop them?
Not many people can.
It's going to make division games really interesting, for one. And two, Green Bay always chokes in the playoffs, so they'll be able to beat them if they have to play them. Tampa Bay will not be in the Super Bowl again. I am convinced. Not very many teams repeat. They have the team to repeat, but I don't see it happening. No offense to Brockton. No offense to Tom Brady. This has nothing to do with him. They won't be in the Super Bowl this year. And I'm not saying Kansas City will be, but they have a really good chance with that offensive line now. They don't have to worry about their quarterback getting hurt. So they have I think in my mind, if I had to look at the two teams being unbiased, because that is a hell of a team that Tampa Bay has. They were already a Super Bowl team, and then Brady, Gronk, and Leonard Fournette came over, and Antonio Brown, and just made them a super team. So they were already a team. They're still a team. But I think if you had to pick Tampa Bay or Kansas City to be in the Super Bowl again, I think Kansas City is going to be that just based on what they did with their offensive line in the offseason. But the Arizona Cardinals with Kyle Pitts, they'll have Christian Kirk, Kyle Pitts, AJ Green, Larry Fitzgerald if he comes back, DeAndre Hopkins, dude. DeAndre Hopkins and Kyle Pitts together is like probably the scariest thing on an offensive weapon chart I could look at.
You want to?
There's no question.
Do you want to hear something that was a comment that I read a while back? And
Absolutely.
The comment was, I cannot believe San Francisco is entertaining the possibility of drafting a quarterback. With Kyle Pitts in the draft, if you put him on the other side of the line next to George Kittle, their scheme would be the best offense in the NFL because it's tight end based. They would have the best opportunity to win with Kyle Pitts in the draft.
That's all I'm saying.
They're not even talking about him though.
Absolutely.
No, I entertained that idea about a month ago. And so they could make Jimmy G look like Mac Jones in Alabama with Kyle Pitts there. They don't have the best wide receivers, but they do have like Debo, and they have Raheem Mostert also, who's a really good running back who can catch. They'll make Jimmy G look like as good as people think Mac Jones is playing for Alabama if they got Kyle Pitts.
Wholeheartedly agree.
They can always find another quarterback.
So I thought that Arizona was like Super Bowl contender last year.
I agree.
This is some next level shit.
That's what I'm saying.
I called them being in there last year. I think I was just a year ahead. Like,
I mean, just if you want to put it into perspective, we were talking about one of the reasons that we thought that Mac Jones was not the quarterback that he's going to be drafted as. He played under one of the best offensive lines in college football. He plays under probably the brightest coach in college football, in Nick Saban. He is a college guru. He had Devontae Smith, Waddle,
Najee
Harris at running back. He has all the pieces to win.
He had a hell of a good defense, so all he had to do was score.
All he had to do was manage a game.
Tom Brady, dude.
So, and with all that being said, the reason why Kyle Trask, as far as ability-wise, slipped to the second round at Florida was because they said with receivers like Kadarius Toney and Kyle Pitts, he just wasn't that good of a quarterback. How can you make that assumption, push that guy into the second round of the draft, and then bump Mac Jones all the way up just because they won a national title?
It doesn't make sense. And people have been doing that with Alabama players for the last, I don't know how many years. Just because they play for Alabama, they think that they're gold.
Well, usually any Alabama first-round defender that gets drafted from the defense is usually gold.
Well, yeah, you have your defense and you have your line. Then you have a few wide receivers in there. But quarterbacks usually aren't there.
It's just like Ohio State with quarterbacks. What is Ohio State known for? Their defense.
Their defense and their offensive line.
No, specifically their defense. If you want an Ohio State player 99% of the time in the draft, you're going to go after who's on their defense. Like Chase Young, perfect example. Ohio State is big on defense, and those are the people who do well in the NFL from Ohio State. Justin Fields, I think, is going to be the one and only exception to quarterbacks that come from Ohio State. And Joe Burrow, technically, because he started there. But he finished his college career in LSU, so I can't really say that. But I think Justin Fields might be the turning point in Ohio State draft history for quarterbacks.
I agree. I think Justin Fields has the highest upside of any quarterback in the first round. He may not play this year. He may not start this year, but I think
I'm fine with if he doesn't start. No matter where he ends up, I'm fine with him sitting a year because I think that is so crucial. I still will say it every day. Cincinnati screwed up by getting rid of Dalton and not letting him finish his contract and letting Joe Burrow sit a year. Not saying he did bad, and I'm going to keep saying that. Joe Burrow did not do bad for a rookie. But a rookie with no offensive line, I should say. But yeah, they should have just let Andy Dalton get beat up for another year, sunk into the draft or deep into, winning 2 or 3 games because they didn't win that many more with him. and was able to draft whoever they wanted again, which they still ended up in good position. But like Joe Burrow would have had been sitting a year and being able to come back with his first year as a starter, and I think he would be really, really unstoppable.
Just think if they'd have let him just let him sit for half the season.
Half a season, exactly. And then bench Dalton, traded him, whatever you wanted to do with him. Like, he wouldn't have got hurt, most likely. And I think he would have had a little bit of experience with not playing and being able to watch the league from the sidelines and learn so much. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what any Cincinnati fan says. I don't care what any Chicago Bears fan or Dallas Cowboy, anyone. Andy Dalton is not a bad quarterback. He's just never had a chance.
Yeah, the years, I mean, don't get me wrong, the years that they had a decent offensive line, he went to the playoffs. Never won a playoff game, but just remember, as a rookie, Carson Palmer threw his hissy fit, and Andy Dalton won the division as a rookie. He's never been a bad quarterback. And he's basically, you can compare him to the Mac Joneses of the world because that's kind of what he was coming out of TCU. He had a little bit stronger of an arm, but he wasn't a great, offensive quarterback. He was good, but he was in the right system at the right place in the right time and had the right players around him. In the first 5 years he was in Cincinnati, he won games and put up respectable numbers.
I mean, one year he won the first. I mean, granted they finished 8-8, but he won 8 games in a row to start the season. That's pretty impressive for a Cincinnati team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on the train. I know Shelby doesn't always agree with this one, but I still think Marvin Lewis was a much better coach than what.
I agree with you 100%.
Because the culture of Cincinnati sucks balls.
I'll agree that Marvin Lewis is a better coach than Zach Taylor. I
was about to say. I was like, even if you don't like Marvin Lewis, who would you take, Marvin Lewis or Zach Taylor as
I'd take
head
Marvin
coach?
Lewis specifically because of his experience.
Look at every coordinator that he's trained in the NFL.
Oh yeah,
Zimmer.
They're going
Zimmer's
to do
awesome.
big things.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Hugh Jackson never panned out as a head coach. And
Not a huge fan of him though.
I mean, his offensive coordinators weren't that great, but his defensive coordinators turned out really good. And I was really surprised when he didn't end up coaching the NFL this year. I thought he was going to get a job somewhere, but we'll see.
I think his NFL days are over.
He's not that old. Well, I mean, here's the thing, and me and Alex have discussed this plenty. He was probably the premier defensive coordinator the year he won the Super Bowl in Baltimore. That's how he became an NFL head coach. He can coach a defense. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for stopping by, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he was always been a fantastic, coach. And just like, look at Andy Reid. Andy Reid basically got booed out of Philadelphia and got
Which I don't understand that because Andy Reid is probably the second greatest head coach of all time.
He's
one of the smartest coaches there is.
Here's the thing. Philadelphia is in the same state as Pittsburgh. What does that tell you about most of their fan base? They do things based on their
garbage.
How many? What organizations there are worth 2 squirts of monkey piss?
76ers.
The 76ers and the Penguins that are not.
I was going to say maybe the Penguins.
They're pretty good. I mean,
I don't know about the Penguins. I don't know that I can agree with you on that because they're like Steelers fans. Like they're horrible.
Yeah, the Penguins just have premier players and they figured out how to keep them happy.
They're not a bad team, but everything surrounding their team is horrible.
If your team colors are black and yellow or black and gold, then more than likely.
Is that a shot at the Bruins?
Exactly.
I just had a feeling. being that you're a Chicago Blackhawks fan, I felt like that was a real deep shot at the Bruins.
Just a little bit. No, it never fails. Those are the 2 team colors that just always have a shitty fan base. And I might catch some heat for that, but
it's color.
Always just.
I like red teams other than teams that have Tom Brady on them.
I like the color of Tampa Bay's uniforms. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
like Tampa Bay's throwback orange uniforms. Those are one of my favorite uniforms of all time. Is the orange that Miami and Tampa Bay both have.
That's real nice.
When I play Madden, if I use either of those teams, I use the orange uniforms every single time.
Thursday night at 11 o'clock, we're going to talk draft. Anybody?
Yeah, post draft.
Post first.
All right, Brockton, I'm going to be real with you right now. I don't hate the Patriots anymore. It's always been Brady. I actually want to see the Patriots do well. There we go.
Exactly.
This is exactly how I feel. If Tom Brady is in a team, I hate that team. I like the Buccaneers 100%. Before Brady got there, and I hated the Patriots while Brady was there, but I kind of want to see them do well. Tampa Bay is going to New England this year, and I want to see New England kick their ass. Like, that will make me so happy. If that's not a primetime game, I'm going to be, like, pissed off at the NFL because that's the game I'm looking forward to this year. Tampa Bay in New England.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're just keep on going back. I'm ready to I'm ready to say that I'm not anti-Boston because I do like the Red Sox now that
you know what my favorite Red Sox player is? I bet you can guess.
Not sure.
Coco Crisp.
Coco Crisp.
That is my favorite Red Sox player ever.
There you go.
I'm sure you do love Tampa Bay now, buddy. I bet you do because Tom Brady fans are all Tampa Bay fans now because they are – I'm not calling you a bandwagoner because you said you do like Boston sports, but almost all of Tampa Bay's fans are from New England now.
And to say that we hate Boston is that I'm pulling for the Celtics in the East. I got to admit
I like the Celtics.
I like the Celtics, but I'm not pulling for them.
I'm pulling for them because I don't want them to finish in the bottom. Like, they have such a good team. And the guy I was thinking of the other day, Dad, that I couldn't remember his name was Marcus Smart.
Oh, yeah.
Marcus Smart. He went to Ohio State, right?
No, Marcus Smart came out of Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State?
Yeah, so we were listing all their players, and I couldn't think of the other guy, and I was watching them play last night, and it was Marcus Smart. I do like the Boston Celtics. I actually have a Boston Celtics basketball. It's in my brother's room, right behind you. I don't remember who's on the name of it. I always forget.
Which one?
Is it Rondo?
If you go in Ethan's room, I have a Boston Celtics basketball.
I think it's Paul Pierce, isn't it?
It might be Paul Pierce, yeah.
Yeah, Marcus Smart was in Oklahoma State 2014.
Yeah. Who am I thinking of? Someone with the last name of Smart.
The only Smart that's got the last name of Smart that I can think of is Keith Smart, hit the game-winning shot in the 87 National Championship College Basketball team at Indiana University.
Nice. My favorite game-winning shot from IU has to be that Christian Watford shot.
It's probably the best. That's the one that made Calipari decide that he wasn't going to do home court on home court rivalry.
That's really that.
Anybody that can make Coach Cal change his mind about a game series, and I know he changed his mind just because he wants money for his program, but that's why he wants to do neutral courts. But that was the one that pushed him away.
Yeah, now he's scared of
The thing
Indiana.
about that shot is that it wasn't talent. It was just luck. Pure luck.
Well, I beg to differ. We just had this conversation about Luka and Dallas when he jumped from the 3-point line and floated one in to win the game.
Oh,
that was not talent, or that was not luck. That was skill.
That was 100%
skill because he's a talented guy. Talented guys make talented.
Are you okay? I know you're a Kentucky fan, but are you saying that Christian Watford was not good?
No. Why would I say that? That's awful.
Well, you're saying that
like
shot was luck. He's probably practiced deep shots like that before. Just like Luka, he practices the most ridiculous shots all the time, and that's why it's not luck, it's skill. I think that's the same thing with that Indiana game. It's not the first time he's ever taken a shot like that and made it.
No, but it wasn't a good shot. That's what I'm saying. It was just pure luck that it went in.
Were you one of those people that were burning cars and couches?
No, I was just sitting on my couch crying. If I'm being honest, that's all I did.
Uh-oh. I knew it was coming.
Go for it. Make me change my mind.
Jones, 3 seconds.
That should have been a foul right there.
Squared up, shot, money. That is not fucking luck.
Make that full screen and play it again.
Yeah, I need to see that again.
No, just rewind it to the beginning and make that full screen.
Have you got it set up on the big full screen?
Yeah, I got it on full screen. Just make yours full screen.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I most
Hit the
certainly.
little square in the bottom right of the video. Yeah, that. There you go.
Let me see it again.
Let's analyze.
Jones,
Foul right there.
Squares up, feet set, shot. Squares, ball up, shot.
He planted both feet and jumped.
All right.
It was definitely a well-shot shot. It wasn't like a Luka where he was falling and lobbed it up.
No. All right. You proved me wrong there. It was a well thought out shot.
But that's there's a term.
He shouldn't have.
There's a term for that shot, and it's not that he was the best 3-point shooter in the world. He was a pretty high percentage one, but that's called he shot that ball in rhythm. He got the pass at the proper spot, feet were set, and he shot the ball. That's a good shot. That's not necessarily he took a good shot, and good shots are supposed to go in when you're a highly touted college athlete. So did he rise up, make a good shot? Absolutely.
Right. Based on the rest of that game, though, that shot should not have gone in. Also, he shouldn't have even got to that point because Kentucky blatantly fouled him right before the half court line.
I
So
love
that was just a big missed call right there.
Yeah, they don't usually call those fouls though at the end of the game. Unless the shooter gets hit.
On Kentucky, 9 times out of 10, they do. Kentucky gets called for the shittiest little fouls right there at the end of the game, especially if they're going to win. But that's just me being a sore Kentucky fan. And anytime someone posts a video of that shot or the Leitner shot, I will get so upset.
Oh, the Leitner shot. There's another one. That's the one that shouldn't have happened. The Leitner shot shouldn't have happened.
Neither of them should have happened. Both of them were awful when it comes to being a Kentucky fan, but it's in the past. I would like to see UK and IU start playing again, though.
Whether it be on a mutual, when Calipari's there.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Cal is gone the next couple years anyway.
Oh, I doubt it. The Kentucky fans may bitch for his head, but he is still one of the greatest recruiters, and he does. Them kids love him. Just saying.
Oh yeah, I love him as a coach, and I've gotten the opportunity to see him coach 2 or 3 times, and he has just so much energy all the time, whether it be positive or negative energy. Everyone reacts to it. Everyone responds to it. But if he has 1 or 2 more losing seasons like the past 1 or 2 seasons, then he's not going to last much longer there because the fans won't have it.
Yeah,
he's losing recruits.
Yeah, but here was the thing. He's losing recruits because Kentucky fans cried that they wanted 4-year players in that school again. They didn't want to just have one and dones and play for national championships. They wanted it to be a program, not an NBA breeding ground. And that's what he tried. And he's having growing pains from doing so. because he changed his style of recruiting. He's not going for one and done kids. He's looking for kids that want to play 2 to 3 years, and he's not getting the same recruits because of it. I wouldn't have changed what the man did. You know what? If you want to sit and bitch about being in the Final Four every year, then that's your problem. Win however you have to win.
I 100% agree with that. And if you're going to be an NBA farm team, then go for it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just like you got Kentucky and Duke and North Carolina that are typically have a lot of like one and dones. North Carolina, not so much, but you have those few schools that do have a lot of one and dones.
Well, I mean, it's that's the thing, right? I mean, Mike Krzyzewski, what he does is he does it differently at Duke. That's what they want, and this is what they wanted Calipari to do at Kentucky. They wanted him to go out and get the best recruit in the nation, right? Go get that guy, but find role players to put around him that are going to stick around for 2, 3, 4 years. Krzyzewski does that because here we go. Don't take this the wrong way. Because Duke is an academic school. Duke is a school that's not based on football. Basketball is their main income, but they are an academic first school. Duke University's academics are top notch as far as not Ivy League. So he recruits kids. Look, let's just give some of the names. Chris Collins that went through there, the coach at Northwestern. He recruits basketball minds, and he builds teams. He doesn't recruit just Calipari was getting all the great recruits because he was such a good NBA coach and prospect. He taught them guys how to be in the NBA, and 1 year is all they needed. The system changed him. They gave him a lifetime contract because they knew nobody could recruit better. Calipari might be the best coach in college basketball. But his program is now going to be based on not the last 2 years. What he does in the next 2 or 3 years, if he doesn't improve upon what happened this last year, then it might become a problem. But I think if he keeps them kids in-house that he's trying to keep, Keon Brooks is one that should be developing into a good player this year. He's a junior coming up, and there's a lot of talk about him jumping in the transfer portal. He also got C.J. Frederick from Iowa. If you don't know about that kid.
We saw that.
He's good.
C.J. Frederick is not the best scorer, but he's an elite defender. He's a shutdown defender with a great three-point shot. He's trying to build that program back into a program. You just can't stop how you know how to win and then change it back around and then do it the way that it's been done for years. And it's in a learning process.
The big problem I've noticed like this past year with his guys, his recruits, that they all want to be the star. They don't want to work together and win the game. They want to automatically win a championship as soon as they go there. They think that they're the top dog. And if you have 5 top dogs on the team, then more than likely you're going to fail.
And there's
no team play.
There is not many times that you have the I dislike him so much. The unibrow dude,
Anthony Davis.
There's not
My
many.
guy.
There's not that many times that you have that kind of talent come through when they were freshmen when they won the national title. Anthony Davis, and I can't even remember who all was on that team, but it was full of talent.
Was that John Wall's year?
Probably. I don't know. I can't remember for sure.
Because I remember when Anthony Davis played, and he's been in the NBA for a long time.
Wall was there.
Well, it's been a long time since. When did Kentucky win their last national championship?
It was at least 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, and congratulations to the University of Kentucky women's volleyball team for being national champions this year.
I did see that. I mean, I don't follow volleyball because I'm not very good at keeping up with much college.
It was 2012.
Yep. I was in high school. I remember that.
Yeah.
So just to make a point.
Roster.
Yeah, if you look that up and read off that roster, that'd be
honestly
great.
Was DeMarcus Cousins there then too?
Maybe a little bit before that. I'm not positive.
Because I know he was close to that age range as well.
Boogie?
Yep.
I don't think Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Darius Miller, Deron Lamb, Marquise Teague, Kyle Wilcher, John Hood, Tawny Beckham.
Bye, Shelby.
And she just slipped right out. Whoops. Ah, there she is. You were just like listing names, and then she went whoop.
Still not in yet.
Yeah, I know. She'll get here.
Well,
There she is.
There's the first three on the list. Anthony Davis, Deron Lamb, and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, I think were all first-round draft picks that year.
Most likely.
Marquise
I sat and
Teague.
watched that whole draft.
Marquise Teague, there's one that Indiana fans really wishes that would have went to IU. He went to Kentucky. And then his brother went to Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
I
think Kyle Wilcher.
Wilcher, yeah, I never say his name right. He was a great shooter. I
liked him a lot.
He ended up at Gonzaga. I think he transferred out,
if I'm not mistaken.
And then, but the other guys on that team, I mean, here's the thing. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There was 8 top 100 recruits on that team. They all averaged right around double digits that year. 6 guys averaged in double digits that year.
Hope Colin's back.
Sup, Colin? Kojak Fuller. I don't see a Fuller on that team.
Oh.
You want to talk about a rivalry? Watch some of the UK U of L games over the years.
So if we're going to talk about like good head coaches, I feel like Louisville had one of the better ones ever too.
2 of them.
Rick Pitino, man. I was pulling for Iona or whoever he was coaching this year in the March Madness, and I put money on him because I really think they were going to go far. I think they had a hell of a game. They just played against someone really talented in the first round of March Madness. I feel like there wasn't very many teams that were going to beat him, and I kind of hope he sticks around with that team for another year to bring such big news to a small school. So,
Colin, being down there in that local area at the time, how was it perceived in the local area there when Rick Pitino was basically ousted for letting his players have strippers and hookers and all kinds of stuff? I know that some of that may have been blowed up in the media a little bit, but a lot of that was really true, that he was just letting these kids do whatever that they wanted. Is that accurate? I mean, does it seem accurate?
Yeah, but while we're waiting on him to respond, him coaching that team in March Madness this year, did you watch that game?
I did not.
Dude, I swear they could have played probably anybody else and won.
Just to put it into perspective, in this country, and not so much right now not so much going forward, Indiana's coming back a little bit and trying to get back to where they were. But just think of what we've been blessed with. There you go. I wondered about that, dude, honestly. But look at what we've been blessed with. We've had Butler be a mid-major school that's gone to the Final Four twice.
Look at Shane Behan in there. He's one of my favorite Louisville players, to be honest.
What's that one kid that I told you I met? Can never remember his name. It felt like he played Peyton Siva. Yeah, I met him at McDonald's near the Yum Center one time.
He played for the Sixers, if I'm not mistaken.
I felt like that dude played in college for like 10 years.
He stayed all 4 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he played at least for 4 years for sure, because I felt like he was there forever.
Yeah, just going back to what I was trying to get to just a second ago, we've got Indiana, Butler, which for a while there was top notch. Then you've got Purdue, and you've got Purdue and the Central Indiana going south, and then you have Louisville, University of Kentucky, and UC in this area. And even though UC and Xavier have struggled the last couple of years, I can remember NCAA tournaments where every one of those teams was in there and with a legitimate chance to make the Final 8. I mean, not always Final Four teams, but they were always there. And then this local area for basketball, Colin
the
knows.
Tri-State.
Just look at what's down there in the New Albany area as far as basketball players. There's
Look at Romeo.
Yeah, I mean Romeo Langford. There is just so many players that comes from this area, and all these coaches fight over these recruits, and everybody tries to keep them home. And this is such a great area for basketball, and I think that's why college basketball, especially on here, gets such a following anymore because people are freaking passionate.
Yeah, college basketball is 100% my favorite sport.
Oh,
Honestly, though, after you posted that, your premiere from yesterday about the first recruit at IU, like watching all of his highlights and him coming from a team that literally just got the shit beat out of him all the time. Like, I'm really excited to see what that dude can play with, the team that IU already had and continue has added on in the last couple weeks. Like, I feel like I only watched college basketball in high school because, like, when in our high school, when you walk through the door, the first question they ask you is are you a UK fan or a U of L fan? And then I was like, oh, well, my dad likes IU, so that's where I'm going. And, I got beat up a little bit for that. So
except from your one teacher.
Except for the coolest teacher I ever had. And when I say coolest, he was not cool. He was an asshole, but he was awesome. And anytime any of these UK fans pissed him off, he'd pull up that jump shot and make everybody watch it. And I thought it was the funniest shit ever. And his motto was sit down and shut up. And I just respected that man so much. He did not put up with nothing. Everyone else, there was one Ohio State fan, but it was like UK or U of L. And I was just like, I like Indiana. Sorry. I'm not even from Kentucky. But
See,
I only watched college basketball then. And then, because that teacher, he was like, he did March Madness brackets, and whoever did the best got extra credit. And so I made me follow it a lot. And being in high school, and that's a huge thing. Everyone's like talking about it. So that's when I watched the most NCAA anything, football, basketball, anything until the last couple years. But I'm sorry, Shelby, I'm never going to convert to the dark side. But the only two college teams that I truly love are like the Florida State Seminoles, more so in football, and then the IU basketball. And I'm excited to see them play this year, honestly. I watched a lot of their games last year, and I was still excited. I didn't like Archie Miller because he reminded me too much of Zach Taylor. But I'm pretty excited, honestly. And that video you did was like, it kind of hyped me up. Watching that kid play reminded me of that kid from UCLA in the tournament.
Yeah, Florida State. You know what? And that's the thing. When there was no football to watch in the state of Indiana as far as college goes, IU football is going to be back this year, and we are going to talk about Tom Allen at the beginning.
Dude, IU was so much fun to watch in football last year. Northwestern, Ohio State, and IU were like top dogs all season in the Big Ten. And Northwestern was the surprise there, but like really IU was the biggest surprise.
I was going to say, I feel like IU was the surprise there. They just turned that shit around real quick.
But here's the thing. Their star quarterback, Michael Penix, tore an ACL, and he was out. They won with a backup quarterback from Utah.
Dude, like that Penn State game in overtime when he did that 2-point conversion to win the game, that was like the ballsiest call ever. But dude, it was so good. I mean, there was a lot of controversy, and I watched it probably 6 million times, like, because I wanted to get my full opinion on it. And I really think, in terms of college rules, that was, a successful play. And it was so awesome. Like, I think everything about watching them was fun. Yeah, they didn't beat Ohio State, which is what made them not be undefeated. But, like, that was a really good game. And the fact that they did so well against Ohio State made, good hopes for the future of that football team.
Did you know, and I think I told you this specifically, but haven't mentioned it in here, They landed their first national 5-star recruit this year in a cornerback. That's the first one ever for that program, to tell you how far down that program has been in years past.
Yeah, that's super exciting. That's a game changing for them.
Yeah, I mean, just to, this is what we were talking about college basketball.
With Tamar Bates?
With Tamar Bates, you get one prime recruit to show up on your doorstep at your university, and you come in there and you have a good positive season. You don't have to win 30 games, but if you have a good year and with an NBA style coach, them kids are going to start wanting to come back more and more and more and more. And then you're not recruiting, they're recruiting you, because then their dad's on the phone saying, "Hey, Mike Woodson, this is how it was with Rick Pitino. All Rick Pitino's years in Kentucky. It wasn't because he was the best recruiter out there. He put the best product on the floor. And that's probably why, and I'll agree with Colin on this, is that he's a better coach than Coach Cal, because his product on the floor was always top notch. He didn't always have the best players, but that's how he got better. He taught the game so well, then the kids wanted to come to him. Coach Cal recruits the kids, gets them to buy in, and then puts the product on the floor. But that's where Pitino was probably a stronger coach.
I can see that.
I personally think Pitino is a good coach. Like I watched quite a few Louisville games,
and I can't even remember. But what got him out of Kentucky?
I read about this not too long ago because I was curious, but I don't remember.
NBA?
He's if I'm not mistaken, it's when he went to the Knicks, right? Or was that before Kentucky? I don't know. He stopped coaching Kentucky the year I was born, so I don't know.
The first article I see, Pitino calls leaving Kentucky his greatest move.
Yeah, but look at all of what he's done outside of coaching Kentucky. I'm not saying he was bad there, but he's gotten to be great everywhere. Really.
Yeah, I think Colin's right. He went to the Knicks. But and that's the thing. Look at the team that he had that year. He had the year that he won the national championship. He had some really good homegrown Kentucky guards. And he had Jamal Mashburn. Should be that year. I can't believe Jamal Mashburn's son is in the end going to be an NBA player before long. That makes me feel so old.
I can't believe a descendant of Randy Moss is playing in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's nuts too.
That's crazy.
Randy Moss doesn't even feel that old to me, which is what makes it that crazy, is that he has a kid that already went through college and already had a full year in the NFL, and now he's playing for Cincinnati.
Colin, I agree that you're right. That's the lineup right there. Feldhouse, Farmer, Travis Ford, and Mashburn. That's 4 out of the 5. And that's probably my most respected UK team ever.
Farmer was top notch.
Richie Farmer was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
He was the weights and measures guy for the state for a long time after that. I always seen his name on the gas pumps. I was man, that'd be cool to work with him. John Pelfrey. God, yes. See, look, that's a very white team right there. And that's, I mean, not saying that in a bad way, but that's how Pitino recruited at Kentucky. He recruited the good in-state kids, and then he got the one superstar, and that's how he won. Jamal Mashburn was his superstar. Gamel Martinez, I forgot about him. I believe he wasn't a starter, but he was a big guy that rebounded. Hey, Boo, we're going 2 hours and 30 minutes. I need a break. Are we about done for the day and want to talk a little bit about Thursday?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm good with that. I'm really happy with how today turned out. So,
yeah, I like the earlier start time. You know what? I'm better at the earlier start time than I am the later one. I will be good this Thursday, just because there's going to be a lot of stuff that has my interest that's going to happen. Because somebody's going to do something stupid in the first round. Somebody's going to be stupid, and I have a feeling we're going to be talking about San Francisco being ignorant.
Oh, yeah. I've already got my speech prepared for when they draft Mac Jones. I've been working on it for the last 2 weeks. I'm ready. I'm ready for that.
So anybody
But I think
still
so
hanging
too.
out, Thursday is going to be a post first round draft night. We'll probably go. I have a feeling we're going to go fairly late because there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about because there's going to be trades that are made. There's going to be things that are happening in there, and it's going to last. I got my first round blunder already speech under preparation. I've already started doing some research on it. Not going to let the cat out of the bag just yet. I know San Francisco is going to mess up, so whoever picks that one is probably right no matter what. Shelby, come on, who's going to screw up the worst? Who's going to screw up?
That San Francisco, man.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with San Francisco. I want to say Cincinnati, but they really can't screw up. So either way
they can screw up, so do not say that. They can screw up and not take one of those guys. It is Cincinnati, and I'm prepared for that disappointment if it happens. But I'm going to keep saying they're not going to, so I'm not going to talk about it because that's a speaking it into existence thing. If we don't say it, maybe it won't happen.
Oh, let's just say it. I think no matter what they pick based on their needs, they cannot go wrong because they're
That's
not
what I was
picking
trying
a
to
quarterback.
say.
I know, but I don't want to bring that up and like jinx it somehow. Got weird vibes about Cincinnati making mistakes. They're like the Jets. No matter what they do, it's wrong. And the last couple years it needs to be right.
Here's the thing. Unless the first 4 picks go a total different direction than QB, there is no possibility of a mistake. Now, if the New York Jets decide that they want to take a Penei Sewell like they had talked about before,
if I were a Jets fan, that's what I'd be pulling for. But they don't have a quarterback right now, so they have to take quarterback. So if they had not traded Darnold, Penei was the pick that they needed.
And you know that there's a possibility that Atlanta takes Pitts.
Which I think that'll be smart. And there's also a possibility that Atlanta trades their pick. We still got 3 days. Anything can happen.
Well, and they could also trade Julio Jones, and then
that's what I was.
Yeah, Brandon, I agree completely.
I'm
on the edge of my seat about Cincinnati. I really want them to take Penei. I don't think they should take Pitts, but I will be so happy if they take Pitts, and Chase obviously is what Burrow wants. So, any of those 3 picks are the only 3 that should they take. Anybody else, they're stupid.
Yeah, I've got my speech. I got my speech prepared from the biggest screw up in the draft, and I'm going to stand by it. And I hope that I don't eat crow for it. But I could be completely wrong. Which that's the good thing about being analyzing anything. You can always be wrong.
I think the one thing I'm paying attention to in the first round is I want to know what New England is going to do.
Yeah, and I agree because Belichick is probably considered the best mind in football, and whatever picks he has, he is going to pick the right guy at 15.
Or trade.
Or if they trade up. He's going to be scary if they get in the top 10. You know that, right? That pick is going to be scary.
Oh, yeah. I that's why that's where my focus is in the to watch kind of thing, looking out for is I'm watching to see what he does.
Blasphemy. Pitts doesn't deserve to go to Cincinnati.
Is that saying that he's too good for Cincinnati or he's not good enough?
Dude, that kid is the best kid in the draft, so.
I think he's the best player in the draft. I think him and Sewell are the 2 best players in the draft.
I get what he's saying, though, because I feel like a lot of people look at Cincinnati as a joke. They went to Cincinnati, so their careers are done. Yeah.
If Burrow can stay upright, whoever they draft, plus T. Higgins, plus Tyler Boyd, is going to have a great year. If he can stay upright, those receiving.
That is Moss and Uzomah.
I think they're going to trade a tight end before long or cut one.
I hope it's Sample, unless Uzomah didn't heal right.
Sample is a
I like Sample.
I do like Sample. He's a Florida fan. I would never say Pitts is bad. Yeah, that kid is the best player in the draft. I don't care what anyone says.
I agree.
If I was someone making a decision to draft, I would do whatever it took to get that guy, unless I absolutely had to have a quarterback.
Hey, and and just so everybody knows that if you're hanging out in here and then on Thursday night post draft, the more opinions that come up on this screen, the better. We can have up to 10 people on the screen at once. So if you want to come up and spew your opinions and have some attitude with us, we love it.
Agreed. Next to and second best, I'm not even biased. I said this when he was in Philadelphia, but I think Andy Reid is the second best head coach in the NFL, at least currently.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
I'm not saying that because he's coaching the Chiefs, but look at the turnaround from the day he walked into Kansas City.
And so if you like hanging out in here, by the way, go down to our video descriptions.
Check out some links.
Alex has set up, if you want to help your YouTube channel, set up TubeBuddy. Click the link that she's posted for that. Also, join our Twitter, our Instagram. Our TikTok is really another one, too, where there's going to be a lot more shorts that'll hit there. No worries.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of replays and things like that for TikTok mostly. Twitter is kind of like, just a promotion of the channel and quick little bits of news that probably won't be able to be talked about on here. Maybe like daily lineups for baseball and things like that are going to be on Twitter. Instagram is an easier way to keep up with when we're going live. I'm making a post every day that we go live. Just things like that.
And then the other thing is that, if it doesn't bother you much or you have time, feel free. Hit that share button when you see something that we post. If you share it to your Facebook or your Instagram, because we don't have a Facebook for this channel yet. We probably will at some point.
I'm getting there.
But share it out a little bit if you like coming in here. If you want to come up and hang out with us, share it out, because I'm telling you, I believe that this is going to be the best thing that we do, because to have two young ladies that are so knowledgeable and intelligent and well-spoken, it's something different. And I don't think nobody's seen anything like it. And the more support we get and the faster it gets out there, the faster I can prove how good these two are. So please help us out. We're going to call it an end for the day. Thank you for hanging out. Everybody that's still in here, I know you've been in here for a while and listening to us BS and have a good time, but we really appreciate you and we call you all friends.
We definitely all appreciate you, and hopefully we see most, if not all of you, on Thursday after the draft around 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
Colin said he'll be in here on Thursday.
Yeah.
Colin said he'll call in on Thursday,
yeah.
And I'm excited for that.
Hey, what I will do is I will harass him. Thank you, Brockton. I appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brockton.
If it comes down to it, I'll just sit there and I'll dial Colin's phone like 20 times in a row until he shows up Thursday night. Just because.
No, I feel like Colin's a man of his word, and he said it. So I will see him on Thursday.
Hey, and if anybody's still around at 9 o'clock tonight, I'm doing a mail call and announcing my 1,000 sub giveaway on my other channel. Feel free to join.
I was curious who this was, and I didn't want to make assumptions, but this is the Magnetic Squatches, son.
Oh, I got you.
I didn't know, so I didn't say anything or assume, but I'm glad the more you know. Now we know who you are for real.
I got you. I try to promote your dad a lot, brother. He's a cool guy. You got a good dad. Well, I don't know if he's a good dad or not, but he seems cool. So, but we'll see everybody on Thursday night. Anyway, like, subscribe, and share. Peace out.
See ya.